Before time began, there was a podcast. We know not why they did it, only that they wanted to hang out and had the power to entertain. Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Will and Mike Explain the Universe, or as I like to recently call it, Two Handsome Guys and Josh.
Yeah, because Josh needs a part in this title, and he's not that handsome. No, just kidding. Josh is a handsome guy.
We're just giving him crap because he's late to this thing, so he's probably going to walk in the middle of it. But anyway, tonight we bring you something very special and dear to my heart in some ways and completely misses the mark in others. We
in a Speedo.
Now this movie is really great because the slow motion scenes especially... No, I'm just kidding. We have decided, after a toss-up of which two movies to do, we picked this week... we were going to watch the Transformers 2007 live-action film by a certain Micheal Bays, who never lets you forget that he is the one who made the film.
And we've got Shia LaBeouf and what's her name that's in all those horrible movies headlines.
What is her name? I don't know. She's just
one of those. No, Jennifer's body, I guess, was supposed to be
generic hot girl number 3, as far as I'm concerned. Number 427.
Not such a good actor, but hilarious with Simon Pegg.
That's what I've heard, and our buddy Harley was always telling me that in Jennifer's body, she couldn't drop a line, but somehow she kind of made it work or something. I don't know. Maybe that's just fancy editing.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it very much. I guess everybody's telling me, oh, you had to watch it as a comedy. You had to watch it as something funny as opposed to being
Taking
a serious movie.
Horror movie. Yeah.
And I still just don't even care.
Well, as someone else recently put it to me, she's pretty much there just to drape herself over cars and appeal to most of the 14-year-olds in the audience. But anyway.
And all the D-bags, you know.
Right. all the pervs. No, but
perverts.
That being said, though, I'm really glad that this movie... Well, I gotta explain to you first here. There probably is not a bigger Transformers fan that you will ever meet in this world than me.
It's very true.
Yeah, I go way back on it. I was about 3 or 4 years old when it debuted. My brother, was 6 years older than me, was getting into it, and it's been the thing that we have collected for 30 years now and never stopped collecting. In fact, by about the time I was 13, 14, he's like 19, 20. And he discovers eBay, and he's telling me how we can still get those things. He's like, "Wait, are you still into that?" And I'm like, Yeah, are you?
Remember,
okay.
You may remember from our last podcast how we discussed how Mike has been one of those people that has been able to keep these action figures and these toys in pristine condition his entire life. Like, that's saying something. If you can have these, not as much as you do, but move as a normal adult would.
Right.
And still have these in such great condition.
Well, and all things considered, it's not like I keep them in the box either. I pull these out, I play with them, I believe in doing that with my toys. There's no way I'm ever going to sell any of these for any kind of value one day or anything like that. They are simply there for my enjoyment and entertainment. And if nothing else, even the girls that I've brought over to my house over the years cannot be anything but impressed with the size and the setup of my collection wherever I've gone with it. But that being said, I am one of those guys who probably could be considered a G1er for the most part, although I'm very accepting of other continuities and interpretations and that. Mm-hmm. But let's face it, as much as I love Transformers, these Micheal Bays movies suck balls.
Boo!
Anyway,
sucking it hard.
How much does it suck balls? Well, we're about to get into that as we start the movie here. I believe you have the remote control, Mr. McCoy.
We haven't quite started yet. We have a delicious 1080p... 1080p version of this.
So we can see all the CGI glory in full color.
At least revel in the awesome advances in technology and cinematics that are portrayed in this movie. Because at least if Micheal Bays can do one thing right,
he can make a pretty picture.
A pretty movie. Yeah.
I mean, to a G1er like me, who's used to a lot of the boxy cartoon looks of the old cartoon and the toys and things like that, I do have a part of me that thinks that the robots in this movie do kind of look like, two junk piles had sex, and the Transformers are a result of that. But that being said, I mean, you got to respect a lot of the engineering and design and visuals that came out of this movie from ILM.
Just don't ask where the tailpipe is.
Exactly.
We don't know. We don't want to know.
It's not hard to figure out. Bumblebee does pee on a guy in this movie. But
does.
we'll get to that. So
we'll get to that.
We're starting off here right before I believe it's the DreamWorks or Paramount logo, whichever one it is. It's a black screen right now.
Black screen!
If you're watching along, feel free to unpause your movie in 3, 2, 1, go. And the screen is still black. There's the DreamWorks logo.
I met my boyfriend at DreamWorks.
Right here, as the logos pop up, it's worth mentioning the sound in this movie is actually pretty sweet. Even the way the Transformers talk when they talk Cybertronian, and it sounds all garble, garble, garble. You know, like I do a bad impression of it, but I mean, it actually does sound pretty cool and unique at the time. It's been used in a lot of other movies since then, a lot of other alien sounds, but this one actually did kind of pioneer that kind of garble, mechanical, digital robot talk sound.
I'm really excited to hear the sound on a new movie coming out from the producer of District 9.
Oh, yes. I've heard some cool things about that.
Chappie.
That robot. Yeah. There's a robot for you.
Not only am I excited for it, I'm going to try and wrap this up. I'll wrap this up after we get the intro.
The cube.
The cube.
The cube.
Not the cosmic cube.
It practically is, though.
Looks the same.
This is a cool intro. It's a cool thing for the MacGuffin of the movie. A lot of the script called it the Energon Cube. For a long time, it was called the Matrix, but this is still after the Wachowskis' Matrix. So the producers felt it was too close to that, so they decided to call it the Energon Cube, and then that just kind of became the Cube. And it works. I mean, you get what it is. You get what it's supposed to do. I think later other continuities call it the Allspark.
It's the Cube, formerly known as the Allspark, just like
or the Matrix. Later in other Transformers movies, they did introduce the Matrix and the Matrix of Leadership and all this other stuff, but that's kind of the origin of what this MacGuffin was supposed to be. But I like the fake out where you think it's some kind of planet or other world, but it actually is just this floating, 5x5 cube,
Yeah.
But right here, Peter Cullen's great intro, his narration of this movie. I got to tell you, as a big fan, especially of the old cartoon, after we listened to Gary Chalk and some of these other voice actors take on Optimus Prime, who for many guys like me is a childhood hero and a great father figure and someone who to this day inspires me. I mean, I've got an Autobot tattoo on my left shoulder because that's where Optimus Prime keeps his. So he, but when they announced at one of the Comic-Cons that Peter Cullen, he called in and did it himself and announced that he was going to be the voice of Transformers in the 2007 live-action movie. Everyone just went crazy.
I'm sure that was like at Hall H, like those freaking walls just collapsed around.
Oh, yeah. I know it was in something like that. I saw the YouTube video of it at the time. But yeah, I mean, it's such a big deal. And even Micheal Bays, I think, in the commentaries and everything on this, everybody agrees. Peter Cullen is Optimus Prime.
There's nobody else that can do that voice. Like,
seriously.
It's just
not
so
like that.
Perfect
not with the dignity and the reverence and the leadership that he inspires. Now, that being said, Optimus Prime, in this first movie, he stays pretty close to character and pretty true to who he is. In future movies, he gets more and more like lethal and horrible and dark and bipolar and stuff. But anyway, I digress. We'll get into that if we ever do the other movies. But in this one, out of all the 4 movies that have come out at this time, this one actually is probably the best, probably the tightest, and probably just kind of the most well-rounded of these films. And I'm pretty sure that has more to do with Steven Spielberg being the producer and really watching the production of this film closely, more so than anything else.
And I actually, to this day, I like this movie. Yeah, I'm not a big Transformers fan or anything like that, but like...
You've read most of the IDW comics that I
read most of those IDWs. Those huge bound books. That's not easy to get through.
I know, right? I know I piled a lot onto you and kind of overwhelmed you, but you still got to get into James Roberts, who writes More Than Meets the Eye, the current comic out.
Those were looking really good. Like, was it still the IDW where they were transforming the kids into Transformers, and then they would...
there was a whole... They were going that direction with a particular character, and one of the unfortunate things with switching writers and things like this is that he was on a traditional character arc, and then they kind of murdered him when the next writer came in, and it's like, okay, well, whatever.
Well, let's just write that on a continuity.
But still, please, if you are a Transformers fan, and that's why you're listening to that, please, to this podcast,
He was at Comic-Con.
Please just check out More Than Meets the Eye by James Roberts. It's really cool. But yeah, General Morshower or whatever I think is his name in this, or what's his name in real life?
Your guess is as good as mine.
He's generic general actor in this, and X-Men First Class.
Yep.
If you need a general in a military position, then
he's the man to
call.
go for.
Honestly,
he's a one-man army.
Yeah, in some ways. I know this intro with the helicopter, despite the fact that it's sunset, which does work for this scene really well and very effectively in the way that it moves suddenly into twilight. This intro to have this huge helicopter, I forget the kind that it is, but anyway,
it's like a Black Hawk.
It's a big black helicopter.
It's a big black helicopter, and it's got a propeller.
A couple of them actually.
There's more.
Oh yeah. This helicopter, this big intro to the Transformers and what they are, and is really well done and helps bring forward the concept that these are trying to be robots in disguise.
And also, like, bringing it out so early in the movie. Like, usually you have to wait for these huge build-ups to see aliens or whatnot. Right. They're like, here's a Transformer. He's going to take out this shit. And then he's just going to mosey on his way. Well, welcome to the opening scene.
Yeah, it's very kind of Indiana Jones approach to just having a big all-out action scene right at the very beginning. Mm-hmm. And then it leads you into the concept now that you kind of know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
But still, I didn't know what to expect from these movies, and when I saw this in the trailer, it gave me a lot of faith in how cool these could be. Unfortunately, they kind of went downhill after this, but never mind. I'm going to stop bitching about it and just kind of enjoy this one for what it is.
I did that good movies, bad descriptions. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say the actual Transformer transforming sound that comes up here in a second. Listen. Did you hear that?
Yep.
I could listen to that sound all day, 24/7.
That should be like your text tone or something.
I think I can make it that. I just haven't taken the time.
Okay, if we swear during this podcast, that's the sound I'm using.
I can't wait to hear when you edit these things. Still, one thing that I love about this particular character, Blackout, and just what the Transformers do in general, right there, that EMP blast.
Yeah.
Usually in these movies, especially since The Matrix came out, you have... the only weapon that we have against the robots in movies like this is an EMP blast. Well, here's the robots turning it on his head and hitting us with the EMP first and taking out any kind of, big support, big mechanical or airstrike kind of support that they could have used on him.
And you need electricity to have an electromagnetic pulse. So.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it just takes out the whole thing.
Even if you do have one, you're screwed.
And I also do appreciate how the Transformers, being machines, can just so easily hack right into and right through any kind of, security that humans have. I mean, that's just what would happen.
Yeah, like the little microbots that you see throughout the universe that kind of come and go.
Right.
I really like those. Like in this one, it's...
Frenzy is the little robot guy that hangs out with the police car.
Yeah, like that was cool. Like I'm like, cool. I'm glad that they're not just using the full-size, like, giant Transformers. They get into, like, a little bit more of what's to be expected on what's their home planet?
Cybertron. Gobatron. No, I'm just kidding.
Gobatron.
That sound you hear now is a bunch of Transformers fans crapping their pants that I just called it Gobatron. I love all the tanks that are just falling out of the sky right here. But I don't know. The human cast in this particular movie is actually pretty cool. You got Tyrese Gibson, who's a lot of fun. A lot of the lines they spout out are kind of generic action hero kind of lines, but
yeah,
I mean they do a good job with it, and I like how the Transformer actually can look into his binoculars and see that he's getting a picture of him.
Yeah,
and kind of hacks into that or taps into it or whatever. And
you can use your cameras, but we can see exactly what you're seeing.
Yeah,
anyway,
exactly.
So
maybe an EMP would have knocked that out. I don't really know how those work, but oh well. I'm trying to find plot holes now, right. And the fact that they have the smaller Transformers pop off and like Scorponok there popping off.
Yeah. He's my favorite because of that whole shot right there. He just
and he just
so
digs into the ground to chase after the guy who just got evidence on these Transformers. Anyway, heck of an intro,
and
man.
It sets you up without saying a single word.
Exactly.
Like, from the robot at all.
What gets you really excited for the rest of the movie? Now here come all these pretty people plus Shia LaBeouf for some reason. Shia LaBeouf actually was cool, very relatable in this particular movie. I think my problem with him in later movies is that Optimus Prime, maybe I just have a hard time with my suspension of disbelief that he would turn down an offer from Optimus Prime to come and save the universe. Now, I know in the hero's journey, traditionally, he's supposed to deny the call to adventure or something like that, or resist the call to adventure. But, I mean, if Optimus Prime comes to you and says, you are our only hope to talk to the humans and save the universe, you don't tell him, no, I just want to be a normal college kid. You freaking go with Optimus Prime, all right? So,
and see, that's why when I think it was the third one that came out, I actually liked his character a little bit more at the beginning of that, because he's like, damn, I stayed behind after like the first 2 movies, and now I can't find a job. Oh, but there's something happening? Optimus, what the hell, man?
I guess that is kind of true.
Why did you come after me?
He does sort of come back around.
Yeah.
Because you were a punk in the last movie.
Yeah, exactly. Last 2 movies.
I don't know. I guess the second movie might not be their fault completely because of the writer's strike at the time and everything like that. But I don't know. There's so much.
You gotta put it out.
Again, please, just go read More Than Meets the Eye. Because it tells you exactly how cool a Transformers story can be. And it's amazing at world building. If you're into world building and you want to see a lot into the nature and the background and the reasons why the Transformers have this war and everything like that, I cannot tell you enough how much that comic goes into it. Mm-hmm. But I guess it's kind of nice to have little establishing shots here that, Megan Fox, even though she's with the big football guy.
Hey, you remembered her name finally. I couldn't remember it for
came to me. So, most of the time I just refer to her as Sweaty Betty.
Sweaty bottle.
She looks sweaty to me.
Bottles are so sweaty.
It's so gross. She's always so, glistening, and I bet she smells like, that garbage juice that leaks out of your she's probably a very nice person. I've got no idea, but that's just always kind of been
and
my
she might be a great actress also.
You almost said that with a straight face.
Oh. So as I was talking about earlier, Chappie, my favorite thing about this Chappie movie that's coming out is the characters in it, because they feature 2 of my favorite South African hip hop artists. I don't like hip hop, but
it's one of them that girl with the weird voice.
Yeah, that's Yolandi Fassa.
My girlfriend Ninja. And I she was making fun of her voice and did this brilliant impression of it when we saw the trailer.
I can't read it.
Maybe you'll have to hear.
I'll just edit it on here.
She said she'd come to our next podcast. Maybe we can get her to do it next time. So.
Heck yeah. She could be like, oh, Neo.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I mean, what are we doing next week? I don't know.
I don't know. It's going to be a surprise. But I think the actor here that's Sam's dad, I think the only other movie I remember seeing him in is Hot Shots. He was really funny in that.
Yeah.
His parents are actually pretty funny and pretty good as far as character actors go. I don't know what the deal is with Bernie Mac here and why... I swear, if you ever listen to the commentary on these movies, Micheal Bays always going, "Why did I do this? I don't know, because it's funny." And I'm like,
my baby!
It's
my
not
baby's
funny.
back there!
But rest in peace, Bernie Mac. I never watched your TV show, but I loved you in Ocean's 11.
I watched your TV show,
Was
and
it
I
good?
love Bad Santa.
Is he in Bad Santa?
He is vile in Bad Santa. It's so great. I absolutely love Bernie Mac, to be honest.
I almost watched Bad Santa 3 times this past Christmas. I wished I had.
Oh, I probably did watch it about 3 or 4 times this Christmas. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies. Right up there with Die Hard.
I know, I was going to say, maybe we should have done that instead of Die Hard. It's hard to do comedies with these kind of things. But anyway.
Yeah. The deeper you get with the movie, the harder it is. I kind of want to do... Forrest Gump one of these times. Just
that actually
because
might be fun.
It's so funny. And it's all the jokes that I have about that movie aren't jokes about his mental capacity or how smart he is or anything like that. It's about a human being that is hilarious in themselves, just being themselves.
Well, right here where you're kind of getting your first intro to Bumblebee. It's not too subtle for any of us old Transformers fans that the new Camaro Bumblebee comes and parks next to the Bug.
Right.
Honestly, as much as I'm all faithful or want things to be like the old cartoon, that's actually a pretty good move to make Bumblebee a Camaro and to show off the new at the time. This whole new model of Camaro. I mean, this was
cool.
the premiere of it was in this movie, and I think they were right because I guess the decision to not have him be a Volkswagen Beetle was because they thought it might evoke too much of Herbie the Love Bug.
That's exactly what I was just thinking of. They probably make you think more about Lindsay Lohan than Megan Fox. And oh man, remember when Bumblebee had that ginger in his body, and he couldn't transform because his vocal cords were broke, and he had to suffer through that entire thing.
Poor guy. Oh, speaking of Bumblebee's vocal cords being broken, in the comics, there was a prequel comic that came out before this, and Bumblebee in that one, he was the one trying to stop Megatron from getting the Allspark or the cube. And he was like the last line of defense against it, and Prime was fighting somewhere else. So Bumblebee, he like right as Megatron got there, he held Megatron off long enough for the cube to be launched into deep space. And like Megatron, was pissed at it, and he had Bumblebee up against the wall, and he crushed his voice box for it. It still doesn't explain why Ratchet, of all people, couldn't repair Bumblebee's voice box later. Maybe they don't have the spare parts, or it's a delicate operation. I don't know. But anyway, it's kind of cool to think that Megatron's actually the one who crushed his voice box.
Yeah.
Because he was defending, the cube with his life.
And I guess he gets his voice box fixed in the other two.
Well, he talks at the end of this movie. He actually does talk at the end of this, and then he sort of forgets how later.
Yeah.
I think he'd say one or two words in the other
movies. He's
movies.
like piecing things together more than his actual voice, because he's like, "Thank you, Sam Witwicky."
No, they did make it fun. Yeah. I never liked you, Sam. Go to hell.
Suck my tailpipe.
But there's a kid from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, one of these nerds right here. He's what was his name on Buffy? He was the kid that shows up right at the last season and finally becomes one of the Scoobies.
That Asian guy?
Can't believe I've forgotten this. It's been a while since I watched Buffy.
I've never watched
No,
Buffy.
not the Asian guy. He's the one next to the blonde girl that doesn't have a neck beard.
Okay.
Yeah, John Voight. There's Angelina Jolie's dad.
Yeah.
But Bumblebee becoming a Camaro and stuff like that, like, some of the characterizations in this movie are a little off. If anything, this particular live-action movie of Transformers is probably closest to the characterizations of them from the show, their original toy bios from the comics. But Bumblebee, the only characteristic he really keeps is being, the best friend of our human bridge character, of our the character that we're supposed to relate to in the movie, which in this case is Sam. But he's actually more like a character named Hot Rod, who showed up in the movie in the third season of Transformers and was kind of the young, brash, devil may care, doing his own crazy stunts all the time kind of character. And I know there was a bunch of us fans that were a little up in arms about it, but for the most part, it's pretty acceptable. And they say that they based a lot of his acting and animation and everything and his attitude off of Michael J. Fox.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then Megatron actually was based on Hugo Weaving as Agent Smith from The Matrix.
Totally see that.
But and then as they were animating and kind of taking that characteristic of them, they're like, well, why don't we just get Hugo Weaving to do his voice?
Right.
Which a lot of us were upset that it wasn't Frank Welker, but eventually it actually is Frank Welker by the time you get to the fourth movie.
Oh, really? He's just like, fine, I'll come in. Hugo Weaving's like, I'm doing Hobbit movies. Can we do something later?
I only do trilogies now.
Can I play like some Burn guy? Oh wait, I did that in V for Vendetta.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they brought up at the Geek Show live taping.
Yeah.
How do I even get through this? Okay, Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
House of Cards.
Yeah.
American Beauty.
Sure.
Great actor. Amazing. He's doing a new TV show, and it's supposed to be smart comedy.
Smart in what way?
It's supposed to be smart comedy,
as opposed to dumb comedy, like most of the jokes in this movie.
As they said, it's got about half as many fart jokes in it right now. Is that a good Kevin Spacey? I don't know. He's premiering in his new show, where his soul gets dislodged from his body, and he winds up as the house cat.
Interesting
I'm a cat.
premise.
I'm a cat. Look at me. Oh, it was a naughty kitty. Oh, that's mine. Sprays it and just walks off. The first 3 episodes is just him playing with a laser pointer on the wall. But I'm like, come on, Kevin Spacey, what are you doing? You're doing a cat movie.
It is the role of a lifetime.
I love a cat. I'm a huge cat fan. But really, Kevin Spacey, the last thing you did was Advanced Warfare. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. And it was actually pretty spot on. Looked good. But, it's like you're going to go from a video game to a show about a cat.
And maybe it'll surprise us. Maybe the cat's a red herring of some kind. It's not actually about the cat, but it's actually like, you know, he's actually Brainiac, and it's going to tie into Arrow or something. You know? I guess he already was Lex Luthor, so maybe they couldn't do that. But
did you see the new? Speaking of which, did you see the new commercial for The Flash on Netflix? Or not The Flash, Daredevil on Netflix?
nuh-uh.
Gotta go look at that. I'll show you after the podcast.
Oh yeah,
it looks terrific. I guess you should speak up a little bit, huh?
I don't know.
I was telling Mike about the Daredevil trailer.
I don't know why this one guy in this is so. Why everyone's so racist against him whenever he doesn't speak English. I can't tell if that's the director trying to make some kind of racist comment or joke.
It is Micheal Bays.
Is it a military thing? Somebody
it's like,
tell me.
Did you see Age of Extinction? Like,
yeah,
come on.
Or even the second one with those two twins that are all eubonics and say they can't read and crap. I do like the fact these guys are getting followed, and the battle that's coming up here in a little while. You see just how powerful one of the smaller Transformers is, and how it takes a whole army of guys just to take down one of him.
Yeah,
super cool. Exactly how it should be, you know, as far as, you know, Transformers versus humans.
Yeah.
But,
and here in the car with Shia LaBeouf, you've got Stacy Peralta.
Who?
He played Stacy Peralta in Lords of Dogtown, which is about like the original Santa Monica like skate team and everything.
I was wondering what happened to that kid, because he sort of disappears from this movie. He's like in it for these couple of scenes to be Sam's friend, and then you sort of forget about him. But...
He got stuck in the tree.
Yeah, I guess
Sam just left him.
Sam's kind of a jerk. I always got that from Shia LaBeouf, though. So
he's in a new music video for Sia that goes the chandelier.
Why'd they hire him?
You should see. He's like pretty built right now, and he has like this big long beard and like
he sort of grew one for Fury with Brad Pitt. But...
Yeah.
No, he you know, I gotta say he actually is a cool actor for a lot of things he's in. I liked him in Constantine. I liked him in iRobot. You know, for those movies being what they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like he's really good at improvising, but he's sort
Holes.
of Holes, sure. But he kind of has that stutter going on that gets old really fast, I guess.
The only person that can pull off that type of stutter is Woody Allen, and we all know that.
I just realized his friend hanging from the tree there looks just like one of my coworkers, Nick.
Be like, Nick, I saw you
got like the same attitude. I know, I can't wait to tell him at work tomorrow. Like, I didn't know you were Transformers, man. Actually, what's his age? He would have been like 9 years old when this movie came out. Anyway, I'm glad that they stick it to the jock. Dang it, screw you, jocks.
Yeah, take that.
On the other hand, you know, Shia LaBeouf could probably do better than Megan Fox. The girl that was in the third Transformers movie was a better actress all around, I thought.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that.
Probably cuter.
Mm-hmm.
And actually her name was Carly, which was the girlfriend's name in the Transformers cartoon. So maybe that's why I got a special affinity for it.
So they're like, he's grown up a little bit. Let's retcon.
What's her name in this? I don't even know. Is it just Megan Fox?
Let's just call her. Sure.
The Bumblebee air freshener that's in the window there. Yeah, exactly. I guess the creator of the person who made that and patented it and sent it out, they sued the movie for use of it. And
oh, really?
It's like, screw you. It's just an air freshener.
It's like, that is some promotion right there. Like,
yeah, it's not an icon. Like, it's anyway.
The next thing you see is the midriff of Megan Fox. Like, come on.
I don't know. She's kind of just skanky and whatever.
Yeah, I've never been into the girls that flaunt it.
I had to remember when Twilight was coming out.
There's nothing wrong with it if that's what you want.
Well, Twilight and some of those movies like that are such like a girl fantasy, or movies like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days or something like that.
I love that movie.
It's a guilty pleasure. But they're kind of girl fantasies. Whenever I would make fun of it or do that, I'd have to remember that, you know, honestly, Transformers is like a total dude fantasy.
Yeah.
Because you're sort of the geeky, nerdy outcast kid at school. But you get the car, and your car is not only a cool car, but it's actually your best friend that turns into a robot that you fight evil aliens with. And also you get the hot chick who's like impossibly hot that you would never actually
It's like heavy metal.
Yeah, a little bit. So it's like, I got to remember, for, you know, as dumb as any of those movies are, this is, you know, basically just guy power fantasies.
Yeah. It's like Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, this is like how I pictured my life back when I was like 15. Like, I want this to happen to me too.
Heck yeah, I had my
Who am I kidding?
Subaru is my Bumblebee.
Funny story about seeing this movie. When my brother and I went to see this in the theater, because of course we were going to see it together. It's the first live-action Transformers movie, and we, if there's anybody who has a collection that's even bigger than mine, it's my brother. So we go to see it, and we were doing a little chant right at the beginning, like right before it started, going, "Please don't suck, please don't suck, please don't suck, please don't suck." And we were surprised, it was a lot better than we would have expected, so.
Yeah.
I guess, I do like the character of Bumblebee in this show, how he's helpful to Sam. He wants him to get the girl.
Yeah.
He's trying
like,
to hook him up,
What's up?
Yeah, and honestly, he would do kind of stuff like that in the old cartoons too. So that was a little endearing to me. But I mean, this whole thing where they actually, I think that is good. It gives a little more to her character, the fact that she is a good mechanic. And that she kind of has those daddy issues with her dad in prison, but at the same time, he taught her how to be a mechanic. Yeah. So it's kind of cool. I love the fact that it's like a brand new engine under there, and it's a scrappy car. Whoa. But Shia LaBeouf is like way too horny here. You can practically hear his boner hit the side of Bumblebee's
fender. It's got
the
horses and the power. Jizz Mopper on aisle 3. Jizz Mopper on aisle 3.
Man, I wonder where Josh is. He's usually here by...
Yeah.
He said he'd be about 8 o'clock, but we're getting...
Oh, the show goes on without him. Long live the show!
So, by this point, is anybody wondering, where the Transformers are in these Transformers movies?
Yeah.
That's actually always been a big point of contention, because... for being called the Transformers, it's rarely ever about Transformers, really.
Right.
It's sort of just these plot devices in the background instead of very interesting characters.
You two are just tools.
Well, I get it. It's a live-action movie, and the special effects in it are very expensive.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time, one of the problems that we all have had with Transformers, when I say we, I mean, fans of the, long-time fans of it, fans of the comics, fans of the cartoons, and all their iterations. It's hard for us to watch this Transformers movie for them to take, what for us are the central characters, which are, supposed to be the Transformers, and they really are just background pieces and plot devices, and, the characterizations that they do have, for the most part, are very, very one-dimensional. I mean, even Optimus Prime is just a little bit too loyal. He's a little bit. He's a little bit too dignified and too much of a leader. Because even Peter Cullen doing his voice, as amazing as it is and sounds, back in the old cartoon, he'd take time, he'd be playing basketball with the guys, and here's Spike or Sam. Exactly, Sam's showing him how to do it. And he's like, "Hey, Spike, am I drooling correctly?" And he's like, "That's dribbling, Optimus." Ha ha ha. But it's little characterizations like that, and you could tell that, especially in the first few episodes, Prime knows that the fight against the Decepticons, because they're bigger, faster, stronger, harder, more alive. The Decepticons, it's almost this impossible task, because basically the Autobots on Cybertron, they were just kind of this normal working class. They were the civilians that were, just had daily duties, and, they were the forklifts of that world, and the data couriers and stuff like that. Whereas the Decepticons were basically the military, and so that's why they turn into jets and tanks and things like that all the time, and every one of them can fly, as far as the old, canon goes. But the Autobots, are basically smaller, and, they'd always have these weapons attached to them, like big rocket launchers, stuff like that, because it was like kind of aftermarket, they had to arm themselves against these bigger, badder Decepticons, and it used to be that you'd have 3 or 4 Autobots had to gang up on one Decepticon, and actually this movie does a really good job of depicting that a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. But Optimus Prime, he always spoke with this kind of hopelessness, this hope against hopelessness, and there was always something more behind his voice and behind his character. And there were different characters like Mirage, who, all he wanted to do was go back to Cybertron. He didn't even care about Earth, but he was an Autobot and he was trying to do what was right. Uh-huh. And they all had very subtle things. If you want to go really into characterization, again, please check out the comic of More Than Meets the Eye, because it's just amazing with his characterizations. But in this, like I say, Jazz is the black robot. You know, Ironhide loves guns and loves to blow things up. Ratchet's a caring doctor. But I don't get why this guy had to be on Air Force One in order to access all this
stuff. I guess the point of it is they're trying to show just how much the Decepticons have already infiltrated the humans and the military and everything. I don't really understand, but...
Ding dong! Wake up! Stupid robot, what are you doing sleeping in there?
Yes, that was a ding-dong. Gonna punch you in the ding-dong.
10-second rule, girl. You eat that ding-dong.
Doesn't look like it's very good.
Come on, everybody loves a ding-dong in the mouth.
So this guy was originally supposed to be the Decepticon Soundwave, but since he's small and relatively stupid looking, I mean, he's cool as like a little guy.
Yeah,
but
it's
he's
like a tiny one.
Right, but to be Soundwave's one of those beloved big beefy, really threatening characters. And
yeah.
we didn't buy it, so once this leaked out online that it was Soundwave, they're like, oh, okay, fine, we'll make it one of his little tapes.
Frenzy.
I don't get what the deal is with the impossibly hot hacker girl. That's almost
nose
like
piercing.
That's almost like the guy that plays Thor. Chris Hemsworth playing a hacker in some movie.
Right? Have
you seen Red Hat or the trailer for it?
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. Like,
what guy who's on the computer as much as a black hat or white hat guy should be has that much time to go to the gym?
Right.
I'm sure there's some of you out there maybe even listening to this.
Using his Google Glass, like...
Yeah, while he's doing crunches and curling dumbbells and crap.
doing Kamehamehas and Wolfang fists. No.
I bet Thor could do a Kamehameha.
He may be able to.
I mean, he's got those lightning bolts,
can
sure.
do
Oh yeah, Tony Stark totally does that, huh? Especially when him and Rhodey combine their beams together, at least in the MCU.
Shoot right at me. What? Just do it. I watched a Marvel Knights comic book, like live action or not live action.
One of the animated comics where they have the same frames from the comic, but they kind of make a move too.
Yeah, but they're like graphic novel.
Full motion comics? Motion comics.
There we go. It was Iron Man Extremis, and that was really interesting because it brought in the Extremis, but Tony Stark changed up the serum of it and everything, and made it so he could like store his
the armor and everything,
the armor
inside him or cellular or something like that.
But it was just like the cover, and then he would put the armor on. But like
I think he's still
increased
doing
his
that,
senses and everything, and it comes out of like little holes in him.
Yeah,
and then he regenerates himself. He's like Iron Man,
still...
inside and out.
That's a cool line.
And they would have like the Extremis guy that got infected. He would just like walk up to humans, just like punch their heads like clean off their shoulders, and like graphic depictions.
Nice.
And they've got one for a Spider-Woman, Agent of Sword. That I've been watching too. That was really cool.
She's an Agent of Sword now?
Yeah, she
cool.
has been an Agent of Sword for a little while.
The space people?
I'm trying to remember like what comic I was actually reading where she's like, I think it's Miss Marvel. Or Captain Marvel.
They're making a movie of her soon.
Yeah, they are. Carol Danvers, everyone. And she's just so great.
I hope Emily Blunt does Carol Danvers, because I know I got a crush on her after watching that The Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise.
Oh, yeah.
Or Live, Die, Repeat, or All You Need Is Kill, or whatever the heck it's supposed to be called.
I really want to see... what's her name?
Anna Kendrick.
No, from Nassim Pedram? No, not Nassim Pedram. That's completely wrong.
From what? The girl that's playing Wonder Woman in the new Man of Steel movie?
No, I can't even remember. I'm just going to leave it at that. I had somebody, but I can't.
I don't know who the generic Decepticon hologram guy is. Because like the same guy who's driving this cop car, the hologram that's driving the cop car, is also the same guy that was the pilot in the helicopter at the beginning.
I see.
And then later there's a guy from the government agency, Sector 7, that shows up, and he's got a mustache. And at first you're like, wait, isn't that the Decepticon that's been piloting all these cars? But no, it's not. It's a totally different
they
guy.
Just slap a mustache on him.
Yeah, he looks exactly like the Decepticon hologram fake human thing that they all have. I don't know. And I never quite got what this part was about, because I swear, this whole scene just leads to Shia LaBeouf getting arrested to have a funny he got arrested scene. And it is the first time that you see Bumblebee in robot form. And he does send out a signal and a message to Optimus Prime. But at the same time, it's like, I don't understand.
Right?
Anyway, and it mostly is just an excuse, I guess, to get Shia LaBeouf acting goofy and overacting and spouting out, weird nonsensical improv crap.
Yeah. It's like, just let him go with it. Like, he needs his moment to shine. Just give him a couple scenes.
Well, and it's kind of where, like, I mean, I get maybe the point of it is to show that he realizes, oh my gosh, my car is alive and it's sentient. It's this other creature. I don't know. I don't understand.
He's a pretty good biker.
There's a bunch of lens flares in this movie. I wonder if that inspired J.J. Abrams at the time or something.
He's like,
I love the flares in my eyes.
There's Bumblebee. There's our first look at a nice Autobot robot mode.
and like the slowest motion of any of the robots that you've currently seen, basically, like all the giant ones at least.
Right.
Because you're just like, oh, just chilling.
I do want a spotlight like this in my backyard that just displays the Autobot symbol in the clouds above.
They still have from Gotham.
Batman's like, hey, quit bogarting my style.
I'll tell my dad. Oh, wait.
Look at his old flip phone. This is so 2007.
So 2008. You're so 2000 and late.
2009 is way out of time. No,
2010, where the hell you been?
2011, I died and went to heaven.
That was a good little riff on the times.
And what's the dogs chasing? I just don't know. That's one of my problems, especially like these little sequences like this where the dogs are chasing him and it makes no real sense what he's doing or what the time of day is or anything like that. Like it becomes such a staple of these Transformers movies and gets worse and worse with each movie. And it's such a weird Michael Bay thing, I guess. I don't know, but I mean, the scenes like this, they give you a headache by the time you get to the fourth movie. We have no idea what's going on or why they're doing what they're doing. And literally, I kid you not, Michael Bay says right in the commentary, well, I just thought it would be funny, that's why. I don't think it's that funny, but...
What I think is funny is he jumps up on those barrels to get away from the dogs. Obviously, the dogs can jump that high. Yeah. Like, if you had a step
big junkyard
there,
dogs like that,
they're gonna tear you to pieces, Shia LaBeouf. I don't know what you're doing up there. You are not safe.
Oh, seriously, man.
Get out of there.
So, but I was gonna say with the lens flares and alluding to J.J. Abrams, the two writers that wrote this movie were Bob Orci and Alex Kurtzman, who did the first two Star Trek movies and worked on Fringe and all those things. So I mean,
I recognize the Bob Orci.
They were still a relatively new game in Hollywood at the time that this movie was coming out, so they still hadn't quite been tested, but they were cool. Robert Orci was nice enough to get on the fan sites with Transformers and answer fans' questions and
nice.
kind of peer into their input and what they thought about certain things that were coming out with about the pre-production at the time.
Was the first question? Why? Why are you doing this to us? No, I guess if it
Why
was
are you
pre-production,
ruining my childhood?
If it was pre-production, then I guess it's not as bad.
Why
right?
are you letting Michael Bay rape my memories? No, that's seriously how they.
Memories.
That's how they. That's how a lot of fans were reacting at the time about a lot of these changes. The fact that Optimus Prime had like blue flame decals on him was totally weird to all of us at first, but we kind of got used to it. Like it's almost part of him in every iteration.
Almost
since.
every time I see him with like the blue flames, I think he's wearing a cowboy shirt.
Well, it's funny you should mention that because
frilly ones.
it would actually almost kind of fit though, because Peter Cullen, who voices Optimus Prime, is from Texas and often wears a cowboy hat. And he's got a big old mustache too and stuff. He's actually,
that does not surprise me. It's like Nick Offerman's stand up.
Oh, I've never noticed that you could tell his dad had to get pulled out of bed early in the morning to come bail his son out. I actually kind of like this cop guy who sits there and kind of riffs with him about like, what's mojo, huh? Is that what the kids are calling it nowadays?
Let me get a pee test. Come on.
No, that's actually just the name of my dog, sir. But yeah, still I don't quite get the I guess maybe it's to show that, oh haha, Bumblebee's getting him into trouble. Oh, the misadventures of Sam and Bumblebee kind of works for that. There was a big thing with Steven Spielberg where when he was setting this up and started the production of it, and even as they were hiring Michael Bay to direct it, he saw in this show basically it was going to be the story about a boy in his first car. And that he wanted that to really be the central feel and theme of the movie. And again, I think because of Spielberg and because of that, trying to keep it on that track, it really works. But later, when I think Spielberg had a lot less to do with these movies, that's why they started to kind of get off base.
Hold on, Spielberg had a big part in this movie. Does that mean this is just like a reimagined Christine?
Basically.
Yeah. Only the cars are actually...
They actually
both
turn into humanoid
bad and
things.
good.
Yeah, exactly. So, actually, all the cars in this are good. It's all the other objects are
Right.
dag nasty evil. Okay, now this scene, again, this is super cool. This is the first time since that attack on the military base that you get to see what a Decepticon can do. And it's one of the smallest Decepticons, and look how much butt it kicks. Like,
Yeah.
seriously, like, and it's cool going in and out of the sand like that. There's a shot coming up here when they run away from it, and it's popping out of the sand. That guy's dead. And it's popping out of the sand. And the way they did the scene was right here coming up, they were exploding charges behind these guys to make the sand pop up the way they do. The look on their faces right there is real panic because they were told, run away from the explosions or else they will actually hurt you. So as they're running away, the look on their face is actually real. Now,
You better get out the way.
one thing I do like here too is they're supposed to be in like Qatar, which I as far as I understand is friendly to America and stuff. But it's kind of nice to see a depiction where they're showing that not all Muslims are bad or enemies of America, and that they're working together with the Americans. I love there's a guy coming up here who has a revolver. And he's trying to help out. He's trying to shoot, even though it's pretty futile. Futile. I guess it depends on which unit of board you're with.
It is futile. I'd say futile. Why
Data says futile. Those movies are messed up.
He's from a different... He's a program.
Yeah,
He
he's
doesn't
just a
know anything.
robot. What
He's
does he
programmed
know? Stupid Data.
Stupid Data.
I read this thing where they say in one of the main Data episodes that showed up that Data, like, he runs at 6,000 teraflops or something like that, which at the time in 1987 when it aired was like the 60 times faster than the fastest computer at the time. But now here we are just a few years later, and then Star Trek is still 300 years out, and we have things that run like 300 times faster than Data. So just in the last 20 years since that aired.
Yeah, I mean, check out how far we've come with robots and everything.
And here we have
Not
a nice...
far at all, but we have a sex robot apparently.
I'm really glad that this movie goes a long way in furthering, the interracial love story between Tyrese Gibson and Josh Duhamel and the homoeroticism behind them in this. No, I'm totally kidding.
Why are you kidding?
No,
Say
that.
no,
No, just as far as their characters are, they're super cool buds. I think that's cool. It's very. I've heard the military is portrayed really cool in this show, and I guess that's one of the benefits of having Michael Bay on a movie is he's got a good relationship with the military, so they're super cooperative with him.
Yeah.
And they have a whole team of guys that'll work with him and securing the equipment or things that he needs for the background, so they look really real.
I don't know. I just think that the Air Force always looks cooler. I mean,
This is the Air Force, though. Tyrese Gibson's character is an Air Force officer who gets on the ground and communicates with the guys upstairs and lays the targets and everything like that. So, I mean, as far as I've been told by my friends in the military, the scene's actually really accurate to everything. Isn't that right, Josh? Who just walked in and is in the Air Force?
Podcast, roll out.
Roll out.
I just don't understand how this guy goes, from being whatever rank he is to being like a chief
colonel
master sergeant.
or whatever it was, and then the next
and then
couple of
still
movies.
Deploy out, that's not how it works. I'm sorry. You get above a certain rank and you just watch people. You don't, go out when you're there.
Well, I think by the third one he's retired, right? So maybe he got himself into a desk job and decided he didn't like it and went off to work for NASA.
Yeah, that's what I'd do.
That's what I'd do.
Hi, Josh. How you doing?
It's going pretty well.
Good.
Got a math test tomorrow,
That's fun.
I got to take my physics test home today, so he sends the test home with us, so we can bring it back with 100%.
I do like these A-10 tank killers right here, but there's an Autobot that turns into him named Power Glide, and he's red. And he's the ace of the skies! And away we go! That's how he talks all the time. He also did the voice of Shipwreck on G.I. Joe. But
Oh, I can see that.
anyway, yeah, so I kind of wish that they had been Power Glide, but that's the nerd in me.
Power Glide just sounds like a sexual lubricant.
Oh, there's so many...
Glide.
Let's get into that. There's so many sexual names for Transformers, from, like, one's named Thrust.
Oh, I'm grabbing your
There's
ass.
another one named Hot Rod. If I can think of any others as we go.
No.
Team Ramrod.
Say it. Say Team Ramrod. They're making a second
Chicken
one of that.
effort.
It's official now.
Oh, yeah, it's got to be better than Beer Fest. Even though Beer Fest
loved Beer
Beer Fest is only funny if you're actually drinking beer at the time, I maintain. These 105 shells are supposed to be pretty
Second
awesome,
round?
right?
Yeah, with the
Quarter
tracer
boats?
rounds.
Yeah, exactly. And the things are firing out of this big jet. Because don't they have things that burn at like 5,000 degrees Celsius or something and go right through tank armor?
Wouldn't doubt
I
it.
go right through
That's not
tank
my,
armor.
specialty.
Oh, that's right. You were just a radio guy. I'm just kidding.
Radio.
Oh, you're a
Who
nerd.
are you? Cuba Gooding Jr.?
H2O.
Huh?
I got
So,
that reference. Yeah.
Did I ever tell you that I was in Civil Air Patrol when I was a kid?
Really?
You ever heard of that?
No. Is that kind of like the JOTC?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm sorry. You
I do
should've
not
brought that
understand.
up.
It wasn't like a junior ROTC. It was all voluntary, and it was basically we would meet up once a week, and we would have weeks to study and earn ranks and learn drill and go to encampments and like boot camps and everything like that. And I was like 15. It was a lot of fun. This is the first time I shot an M16.
I was going to say you're...
First time I was in a C-130, and I got a door seat in a Blackhawk. So I was like,
Nice. I was going to say you must not have liked it too much, though, because you're kind of more of a hippie now.
I just got lazy. That's what it was. I totally was planning on joining the Air Force.
Then I discovered beer.
I discovered beer, pot, and about that, a little bit after that, probably some other stuff. But we're not going to go into that.
Any illegal drug use, right? I like this actor in a lot of things. He actually does hold his own in this movie. I forget what his name is, but he usually plays a lot of serious roles too. And he
now
was
he's doing
hilarious
Sears
in Scary
commercials.
Movie.
He's like doing Sears or Best Buy commercials now.
Oh,
I
really?
think of Nickelodeon
With, Melissa
whenever I
Joan
see that
Hart.
guy.
Nickelodeon.
For some reason.
Was he on one of the shows on there or something?
You're thinking Keenan Ivory or not?
No, I'm not
Keenan
mixing them
Kel?
up, but
Keenan Thompson. That's
no,
what but no,
King Kel, but
I liked him as Jim Carrey's son in Me, Myself, and Irene.
Oh, is he one of the sons
Yeah.
in that? That's cool. I've
What
actually...
you thinking? You can't get nice house in these out of this.
And they're like super smart too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, I've always wanted to go back and watch that show because I went and saw it in the theater like the night one of my best friends died, so I don't think I was quite in the right frame of mind to watch it. But I'm sure it's a lot funnier than I remember it. But I do remember his performance in it and the joke about his 3 sons, and I thought that was pretty cool. So here, like every time I've watched this on DVD, I actually always have fast forwarded past this whole weird subplot where she brings this code to him, and they start realizing that it's aliens and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, it's a really weird shoestring trying to connect one scene to the next and get these people all to Hoover Dam, which is where all this crap is leading to.
right.
But and just trying to show that there's the secret government society that's been dealing with Transformers for the last 100 years, and
It's code within code.
It's Shield.
yeah,
It's freaking Shield.
It's not even that cool. I mean, it's and then it is kind of funny when this guy runs through the glass right here. Apparently, that was I heard it was accidental or improvised or something. So.
He's just like, I'm just going.
Just tell him to
gonna go
run,
with
man.
Puma,
These
do you wanna
guys
say anything?
just tackle him into the pool. It actually is pretty funny.
Do you want to say anything to the podcast, huh?
The little cat. Oh,
yeah.
that's wise words. I never knew that about this movie.
You're really good at watching movies.
That's Shia LaBeouf in his boxes. Okay, here's a fun part. Now, this scene looks like it must...
Misfits Beating Club. Sorry.
Does it just me, or does this look like it takes place in the morning? Now, if it takes place in the morning and he's here grabbing some breakfast or whatever, and he just woke up and that's why he was in his boxers, then it's
Like
weird.
Milk,
Yeah, exactly. It's weird because here, within about 15 minutes of movie time, as he goes through this whole little scenario... I guess he's not
already
stuck in the
up.
tree. Yeah, I guess, but like...
Shaving his dog, I
Still,
guess?
it looks like it's maybe the late afternoon at best, and I swear to you, it gets super dark within 15 minutes here and becomes nighttime.
Yeah, you can slowly
Well,
see
see, I
it
know
fading
this
more
area,
and
and the
more.
way that the shadows are facing, it is definitely past 6 o'clock.
Is it just L.A.?
But it's
I've done that
summertime.
before.
Yeah, didn't you do that on the way here tonight? Or?
No. That was a couple years ago, going down a really steep hill.
I
cracked my
remember that because you
collarbone.
showed up at work when we worked together, and you were like, it looked like you got in a fight with Tyson or something. with
My wife
Mike
showered
Tyson.
me, before she was my wife. It was
You
great.
should have watched that.
Oh, was
how-
it that day?
That's how we connected.
That's
Move to the side in which he blinks. Be safe.
That's right. That's how you and Mallory got together. I remember. That's sexy, man.
Yeah.
It's because you crashed your bike. So all of you lonely people out there, if you want to get a girlfriend, crash your bike.
Buy a bike.
Just bike more.
Buy a bike, crash it on a tree route.
Stop being lazy. Get the fuck out of your car. Oh, that's where I'm gonna have one of those little
sounds.
and just like jump on a bike, save the environment a little bit. Like,
Oh, now
Like
this
the
is cool.
tracks.
They actually do wrap up the
I
tension.
come from the other end. I actually have 6 vehicles. Buy another one.
Yeah, you and me.
he's
got
a
our
little bit
motorcycles
country,
right
I'm a
next
little
to
bit
each other
rock and
right
roll,
now.
if you would.
Right. What were you going to say about this scene?
Oh, just that they do a good job of ramping up the tension here, where we all know that this is a Decepticon, right? You know, because
Yeah.
we saw him in the earlier scene.
We definitely
So
know
the
he's
fact
a
that
bad guy.
we don't know like what its deal is exactly, or is this a cop working with the Decepticons? Then like the headlights kind of transform here, and it looks like it literally looks like it's about to run him over. I kind of wished it had.
And the best part is you don't know like the name of it. You just know bad. You haven't
Yeah,
seen
yeah.
good.
Hey, just-
Bad.
You seen
Remember,
the
he's
Decepticon?
not famous anymore, right?
Because we're 50 minutes in and we don't know like any of their names.
Yeah, we don't quite get
We
the
don't
Autobot
know.
Decepticon thing unless you've been living under a rock
Exactly.
for 25 years. Still. By the time this came out, now it is cool though. This is the first time we really see up close one of these things really transform. We kind of saw the helicopter earlier, but this is the first time that
15
one of these is
minutes
here and
and
it gets in your
30
face,
seconds.
and it's big and it's scary. Now, as much as these things look like a pile of junk had sex, and this is the result of it,
He just got booted.
Okay.
Keep going.
yeah, shouldn't Shia LaBeouf be like bleeding out of his ears by now for getting
Oh,
hit
yeah.
like that? Or it's funny
maybe
that he
he's
calls
just
him.
grazing on it.
It is funny that he calls him by his online eBay handle, ladiesman217.
Because
Instead of
back
by
in the
his
day,
name.
that's what everybody's handles were.
Well, it's just that he knows him by an internet name instead of by like a proper name. It's a fun fish out of water thing that the Transformers, the Autobots, you know, they don't quite get the culture. They do make fun of it here coming up, but see, look, it's still late afternoon. Within like the next 30 seconds, it's going to turn night. Not even kidding. And she should like need tailbone surgery at this point.
Yeah, she just got tackled going in the opposite direction. Like, this is the exact shiznit I'm learning in
Yeah.
physics right now. Okay? Like, I don't know, velocity and momentum.
Objects of equal
There
and
should
opposite
be
reactions and things.
Definite hurt people.
I'm pretty sure there's Pythagorean theorem somewhere in there.
My
A
girlf-
couple XYs, an N or two.
My girlfriend's really into the Used, and I didn't realize who they were. I know I'd heard their songs before, but this is one of their songs I'd heard. And then one day when we got together and were listening to it, I'm like, oh, they're all right. I heard this song. I'm like, hey, this is from Transformers, and she was making fun of me because of all the toys I had. And I look at her and I say, like, the Used likes Transformers.
They use does like Transformers.
Yeah.
And they're Utah locals.
Yeah, or
Learn something new every day.
you know
Yeah.
that? Yeah, they live here in town, man.
So is,
Utah's own the Used.
The Flaming Lips? No, not the Flaming Lips.
It is fun to.
There's another band that's pretty big out there these days that is a local band as well.
It is fun to have a cool car chase in a Transformers movie, and this one's pretty short-lived. It's kind of fun, but if you want to see a cool one, they actually did a really cool one in the third movie. So, and it is kind of fun watching. You know, this is a very Transformers thing where you know they drive the humans. They're trying to get them out of danger, and then they kind of hide them somewhere while they transform and kick the crap out of each other.
I
like
like
a
how
Decepticon.
Bumblebee's got like this backlight. And it's
Yeah.
like, do you think he saw us?
I know.
No, I don't think he saw us. And there's a huge light behind us, and our headlights are on.
Okay, now here's the thing that you'll notice in these movies, and I'll point it out later, is except for this Camaro, except for the 78 Camaro that Bumblebee is right now, every time that the Transformers are in car mode, they look pristine and shiny and like they were just freshly washed.
Uh-huh.
Now, every time that same car in the same 10 seconds turns into a robot, it suddenly has gashes in the paint and all kinds of
Right.
texture mapping on the model and stuff like that.
That's
And
how they
it's
stretch. They
cool.
got stretch marks.
But it's just weird. It's like General Motors, who helped finance the film. If you couldn't notice all the advertising,
Really?
yeah, right. They it's almost like they kind of demanded, and
Sounds like
that
a bell out.
that every time that they show that they show the your tax dollars at work, there, ladies and gentlemen, that brought you Transformers, but it shows that it's like they mandated that every time that they see one of the cars and it's in a car mode, it has to like look so pristine and nice and new. And it's unfortunate that the fight switches from the awesome Barricade versus Bumblebee fight, where there's two giant robots throwing each other around, into Shia LaBeouf versus a Ghetto Blaster.
Yeah.
Ghetto Blaster.
Yeah, and pulling his pants off, because I guess that's funny. But
It's like, why isn't it just stabbing him? I'm a Ghetto Blaster.
there's a James Bond movie that shows you exactly why they call it a Ghetto Blaster, but it's one of Q's inventions. It's a rocket launcher. It's one of my favorite jokes when I was a kid. But anyway, I'm pretty sure this sharp, pointy little robot would have torn him to shreds by now.
Yeah, he should be bleeding
Yes.
profusely.
And remember those other old guys, the guys on Air Force One who were Secret Service agents that it was throwing like lethal CDs at?
Right?
Yeah.
I do love the fact that she kills him with the D-Walt.
What is this turned
That's
into
all
a-
it takes.
a Jason film right there?
Yeah,
Some angles.
it's like an Evil Dead movie. all
Tom
of
and
a sudden.
Tucker, or what is it? It's Tucker and Dale.
You've told me to see that forever. I still never seen it. I'm so sorry. D-Walt. Transformers brought to you by D-Walt.
Oh,
I
he
do-
had one cut on his back.
Oh, he
In
was
the
in so much
t-shirt.
danger. Yeah. Don't tear the Strokes t-shirt. Everybody remember the Strokes?
I love the Strokes.
This is a
The
fun
Strokes.
intro for Bumblebee. It's a very heroic shot. I love the fact that his arm turns into a Mega Man cannon.
Yeah.
It actually is pretty cool and fun. Again, Shia LaBeouf should be very aware that he's not wearing pants right now in front of Megan Fox, but I guess that's part of the joke.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And this is the first time Bumblebee actually does talk to him and he uses all the radio quips and stuff. You know, honestly, I do like that, and I think it's because all of us as nerds, we tend to talk to each other that way anyway, with quips from movies and things like that, just to get a point across and establish context and meaning with a very short amount of words, you know, by referencing a movie or something.
Definitely.
You know, then he totally Vadered the guy, and you're like, oh, I totally know exactly what that means. You know?
So,
I'll be back. Should I be afraid?
referring back to him not having pants, I guess at this point, it doesn't matter if she sees him with a heart on, because is it because of her, or because you just had an alien robot just save your freaking life
It's a
and
fear
become your
boner,
friend?
man. A fear boner.
It's like,
Fear
okay. No, mine would be excitement. It's like, yes, I just had a robot save my life.
This-
What's up?
That shot right there is probably my favorite transformation in the show, next to a big reveal of Prime later, just because it does show a very cool, seamless,
Yeah.
full body transform from robot into this car, and it really makes you just believe that, okay, I can see these things actually happening, you know.
And then, what was it, like the second one where they do the scene where Witwicky is like in Bumblebee,
Yeah.
and like Bumblebee launches him out and then
Knocks the
transforms,
debris away.
knocks the debris
Puts
away.
him back inside as he transforms around.
Yeah,
That's the car
that
cheese.
was such a cool scene.
It really
Oh
is.
my
I mean,
gosh.
as much as I tear these movies up and stuff like that, I mean, they've got great instances and sequences. Again, that's ILM for you.
Man, I missed it. I just had this disco ball installed, you know, or it reflects off the light.
That actually is pretty good lines. The way he
That
gets
was
her to
before hose, man.
the way he gets her to sit in his lap right here is pretty cool. Saying, "Well, you know, the only seatbelt's right here, and you won't sit in the driver's seat because it's weird, right? So, then it's like sitting in Bumblebee's lap instead somehow."
Right. Instead, you're inside him. Like,
See, now
weird.
she's just sitting on his lap while he sits on Bumblebee's lap.
And did he ever put pants back on?
Nope.
Hmm.
Right there, he just figured out he didn't put pants on.
No
And he
pants.
still has the fear boner.
I saw this really cool shirt the other day. It said crows before hose.
Crows before hose? Is it like a Night's Watch
Yeah.
Yes.
reference? Good old Game of Thrones.
Oh,
man.
I actually got you something.
What? You got me a present?
It's just a small something.
So this was the big premiere of the new Camaro, and
Right.
no matter what you thought of Transformers or anything else, I think everybody was impressed by this Camaro. And you can tell because you see them. You can't drive past a parking lot nowadays without seeing this kind of Camaro in there.
Yeah, it's
Sorry,
true.
I haven't-
And most of the time they're yellow and black too. I think
they
just
lean
because
back
of the.
way too far.
Yeah, that's true.
But yellow and black, and you know, have you seen the ones that actually do have the Transformers on the side, the Transformer edition?
Yeah, like every Tuesday I take a run up to Idaho, and somewhere around Ogden, around that same time of day, I pass a car going the opposite direction on the freeway who has a big yellow Bumblebee thing with a big black Autobot symbol on it. It's pretty sweet. Ah, nice.
Sweet little,
A pin that says, "Winter is coming."
Winter is coming.
The Stark words.
So when me and Mike like legitimately started hanging out, me and my wife we would go over to his house and just like watch Game of Thrones every Sunday night. It was like the thing that we did. It's like the first time that my wife has ever showed an interest in nerdy things.
Yeah, it should be
Is fucking
Game of Thrones. Come for the violence, stay for the sex position. It's not porn, it's HBO.
It's HBO.
It's not porn, it's incest.
But it's so good. So there's my tie between Game of Thrones and
No,
Mike.
thank you for the pin, brother. That's really cool,
you can
man.
put it on your bag too. So
Oh, I will. I should. It's behind the couch. I'll get to it. I promise. It's on my shirt now. But
do you want a Darth Maul one too?
sure.
Ray Park, baby.
So I can tell you who each of the Transformers are that land right there. That one's Ratchet. That drops by these kids, where the fat kid is there. I say fat lovingly because I was a fat kid, so it's okay for me to say that. The one who drops into the pool is Optimus Prime, the one that the little girl sees. I remember when I saw the trailer, it had red eyes, and I thought it was evil. I'm like, that's totally got to be Starscream. But no, it turned out to be Prime, of all people. I think this one's Ironhide, the one that crashed alone in the field. And then the one that crashed into the baseball field that was lit up for no reason at night, but it was empty.
Yeah.
Is that one I'm sure is Jazz, because I'm pretty sure it's the one that drops at the Pontiac dealership and turns into a Solstice.
Oh, definitely. There would definitely be a Pontiac dealership near that stadium.
No, in the cartoon and everywhere else. Oh, nice. There's Darth Maul pin. Oh, it looks great, man. Boy, that guy needs some dental work, huh?
He
But-
needs some contacts.
Yeah, so there's Ironhide probably running away from the fact that he's like, oh, crap, I hit that guy's car.
Can I ask why they don't have like prior, like a prior transformation? Like they look like they're bare bones right now.
Well, they are. It's kind of a proto-form is what they call it.
Okay.
When, usually if they travel to some new planet and they haven't adapted to whatever the flora and fauna is, which to most of the planets they visit are something other mechanical,
Yeah.
Earth being organic is kind of rare to them. It's
I
a whole
see.
thing. But and like even water, H2O as a compound is like rare to them as well, and you don't find it that often. Yeah, there's Optimus Prime in his birthday suit, essentially. Yeah, in front of a poor naked child.
Thanks for explaining that, because I've always wondered that.
Yeah, so they show up like that. In the movie, they probably do have a spaceship, and it's probably parked somewhere else right now. And they're just trying to show up as incognito as possible, which they do by crashing into buildings. But still, crap, I think I ate that guy's dog. That's a riff track.
That guy hates me.
I've watched this a lot of times with the riff tracks, too. I do like the GMC Top Kick right there. I used to drive one at work that had a flat
Yeah,
bed
they're
on
pretty
it.
cool.
And then everyone in the theater cheered when we saw Optimus Prime. So
Prime!
this is our
I
hero.
really dislike when people cheer in a movie theater.
I hate when they clap
It
at the
depends on the movie and the moment. You have to be seeing it with the right audience. It has to be at the right time. But I hate at the end when they clap for no reason just because it was a new movie and they enjoyed it. Like, that seems kind of dumb. But if, like, you have a bunch of Lord of the Rings fan and you're sitting there in Fellowship of the Ring for the first time in 2001, that was my experience. And everyone cheered when Aragorn cut the guy's head off. We all laughed when Gandalf referenced the dragon.
Yeah.
We all cried, I think, when Boromir died, Okay, so here comes Optimus Prime doing his big intro, which
It's like, what's
it does him justice, I gotta say.
Ask me what my tailpipe is.
Yeah.
Lawyer, don't ask about the tailpipe.
So it is cool. I remember it was a long time before we got to see his face, and from what I understand, Optimus Prime had a very different face and head in the pre-production, and finally there was a guy who worked at ILM who stood up in the middle of a meeting and said, "That is not Optimus Prime's face. I will not stand for this." And so they actually did have to change like his whole head.
Excellent.
They let the guy, I guess Bay was impressed by the guy or whatever, so we actually had him go ahead and change it up and figure out how he wanted it. But
Very nice.
thank goodness for that guy. I still don't know about Transformers having lips, though. I'm a little against that to this day.
Yeah.
I know they have to have expression, but at the same time, I think what was fun about the cartoon and their faces and that, where they were kind of these angelic, ethereal faces that, being aliens and coming from the stars, there's kind of a correlation there for me. Yeah. But the intros here to everybody with Ratchet and Jazz, again, yeah, they stay true to the characters, who they are, and everything like that, but at the same time, they're all kind of two-dimensional, and it's a little disappointing, so... The World Wide Web. It actually is pretty funny that they found him because of eBay. So the thing is that Transformers kind of made a resurgence, I'm pretty sure, because of eBay. Because once eBay came about and everyone started selling off their old in-package Transformers, and guys like me and my brother were able to get ones that we had that were
Finally get
broken
those.
or that we'd never had before, because now we were adults with disposable income. eBay, I think, kind of brought it back, and Hasbro took a look at it and said, hey, look what's selling online for tons of money. The people still like this stuff for some reason. So, look, he even hits him with, like, some kind of regenerator beam. I don't know what he's doing right there. A scanner. Right. But Bumblebee never, like, he even talks later, but for some reason he doesn't keep talking. Okay, Optimus Prime. Why does Optimus Prime have to have his face? Like, it's cool to think that he has a mouth underneath his mask, but I mean, he's iconic with his mask. Like,
yeah.
And I mean, even later in the movie, they do what they did in the cartoon, and the mask is moving up and down. So I don't know. Now I'm just sounding like a whiny G1.
Trying to relate more to the audience, be like, look at how humanoid they actually are when they transform.
We come from a distant world called Hell.
Isn't all of Cybertron like a giant transformer?
It's a giant techno planet, and depending what continuity and reality you're going for, sometimes it does turn into a giant transformer that is actually Primus, their god.
Yeah.
And Primus does have an antithesis, like a devil named Unicron, who's always a planet that transforms. But Cybertron isn't necessarily always a robot that transforms. But I have a toy of it that does, so there you go.
And here we see Shmi after his whole hook phase.
It does look like Smee, huh?
I didn't know that Shmi was Sam Witwicky's
great-grandfather, tying back to our hook
Shmi
thoughts. But remember, Smee doesn't exist. He's actually just a Tyler Durden of Captain Hook's imagination, and what Hook wants to be.
How very, very true.
No,
so Bumblebee has nothing to do with, like, imprisoning him in the ice, correct?
No,
just on Cybertron is what he held him back.
Right, exactly. And what happened, according to the prequel comic, is about 10,000 years ago, because Transformers are all extremely old and they're virtually immortal, and most of them are at least millions of years old, tens of thousands of years old at the least. Megatron, he followed the cube. He was tracking it through space for eons, apparently. And by the time he got to Earth, he kind of, by the time he entered the atmosphere, and it'd been such a long journey, and he was really low on energon, he ended up just crashing there in the Arctic.
Gotcha.
And, yeah. And so that's what he was doing, trapped there and kind of not, it's like when your cell phone gets down to 1% and sort of has to power down. That's basically what Megatron did.
And then you preserve your battery, you throw it in the freezer.
Exactly. But he stood there for 10,000 years, and then, it was 100 years ago, according to the timeline of the movie, that this expedition stumbled into him. But then because of that, because of them finding the cube and Megatron himself, and then moving all that to, Nevada somehow.
Right.
In 1910. But they retroactively... according to the movie, they retroactively use that technology to engineer all the advanced technology that humans have come up with in the last 100 years. So it's kind of a cool idea and story, but I don't know. It's not the same in every continuity, though.
If this movie were to be made these days, I think that he would have been just like released because of all the global warming. We're melting these ice caps, and it's just like de-thaws. He's like, hey.
I think that did happen in the. I think that did happen in the Transformers meets Happy Feet crossover with the Penguins.
Just tapping away, and all of a sudden, Megatron.
Right. Now, at some point, this character, when the FBI arrested him, they allowed him to change his jersey.
Or maybe he's just wearing multiple.
Maybe
just like layers
hard to tell.
jerseys.
Yeah, but
jerseys on top of jerseys on top of jerseys.
Maybe the FBI was just like, no, we're not a Packers fan or whatever jersey was. You have to wear this red one now. These guys are intimidating. And I swear in one shot before that, the donuts were all off the plate, but he actually... for a movie that I don't like that much, I've watched this way too many times.
Ditto. Like the entire series, I've watched them several times.
Well,
mainly when I go to bed.
Well, this is a weird plot with these characters that I always fast forward. I actually always forget that they even exist in this movie. I mean, I do like him, but I don't get this plot.
Right. Apparently it's almost 10 o'clock there.
Yeah, does the clock keep changing in the background too? No, it's almost 11. It's like 10:45 there. I know he does have some funny lines and stuff like that, but I think these just slow the whole movie down and stop it, and almost stop it dead. I guess they're kind of entertaining, but most of the jokes in this and how Micheal Bay gets away with making this kind of movie, but I mean each one grosses just about $1 billion.
Yeah.
Is because they sort of appeal to the lowest common denominator. And people don't have to think too hard or know too much about anything. They just want to go eat popcorn and watch a movie. And honestly, there is no real sin in that.
And they make most of their money overseas. Like,
Yeah,
they
nowadays.
take this to the most populated area in America or in the world.
Yeah.
You know,
And
that'd be
Asia,
Central Asia,
right.
and all those places. And there's tons of people that will go see this because it is Transformers, and they're like, okay, like, we're down for transforming robots that fight other transforming robots.
Oh yeah,
Let's do
especially
it.
in Asia.
I don't
mean,
care how bad it is. I'll watch it.
The giant robot genre came from Asia, so
Yeah.
of course they're going to spend tons of money to go see a big Hollywood production of it. I'm not going to hold that against them, and let's face it, no matter what's going on in these movies, the giant robot action is pretty solid and cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, this actually, I always liked the scene where they talk to each other like this through the door and make these cracks about
Why are you all
his
sweaty?
chores and things like that, and the fact that you see the robots transforming and Sam's starting to panic about it. You see Bumblebee peek around the corner here in a second. This, for being one of the slower parts of the movie, this does a lot to establish some of the characterizations of the Autobots, and does a lot for Sam's character, giving him a lot to do and trying to keep these guys hidden.
Yeah.
So, and there's the gags in it are pretty fun too, I think. So,
I don't know. He still has the childhood mentality of not wanting to get in trouble with his parents, too.
right? Yeah, he definitely grows up quite a bit in these movies, and I forget how much of a high school kid he's supposed to be in this one.
At the same time, though, it's like, do you really want to tell your parents that you have a bunch of giant robots?
Yes,
Like,
I definitely pull a "Can I keep them?"
they'd be like, we're locking you up right now.
Well, and it's a great joke coming up here in a minute where he says, "Hey guys, just hide for a while, okay?" And they transform and just stay there in the middle of the yard, and he's like, "Oh yeah, real hidden guy."
Yeah.
Like I
You
said,
guys are
the gags
great.
here are really fun. I think it's kind of weird that even though the dog peed on him, Ironhide offers to execute the dog and even
He's
kicks
like,
him
"I
right
will."
there too. Let's talk about animal abuse for a second. The Autobots are kind of dicks in these movies.
It's
For
like,
the
come
most
on,
part.
he's like a thousandth of your size.
Here's a fun fact about the voices of this. We talk a lot about Peter Cullen doing Optimus Prime, but the guy doing Ironhide's voice here, the Black Truck, Wacko Warner. It's Josh
Really?
Hartnell from Animaniacs.
That's
and
hilarious.
all kinds of Yeah, he's Wacko Warner.
He actually came to
Oh,
FanX.
Yakko. My sister's dog.
I think they were actually the hit of this FanX. Like, they did
The
have
voice
some,
guys?
Yeah, like the voice actors are becoming more and more popular, especially since they put out "I Know That Voice."
Yeah, that John
people are
DiMaggio
like,
did.
Okay, like
Yeah,
we don't give them enough credit for
think-
what they do.
I think they've always been recognized by a certain fan base, but those fans are really coming together and realizing that other people are, big time fans and followers of these actors for a long time. Like Rob Paulson. I listen to his
Yeah.
podcasts a lot, and you hear his voice and everything. And I read Transformers comics all the time and put his voice into them, and a lot of these guys. The fact that Brainstorm in More Than Meets the Eye sounds just like Raphael from Ninja Turtles. Apparently, they're all supposed to be British in that book, but I don't care.
I put random text above my face, and you imagine my voice.
Random Text Above My Face should be a band name,
Random text.
at least a song title.
Everybody, welcome Mallory to the podcast.
Hi,
Mallory,
Mrs.
welcome.
McCauley.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
So you got your iPad there.
I do.
Anything
Future
cool?
technology.
I hope
Speaking-
it doesn't transform into a Decepticon and kill us all.
Oh,
Because that's what this
shit.
movie's teaching me.
So, have you seen any of the new Parks and Recreation that have come out recently?
No,
It's supposed to be set in the future, so all of their iPad devices are just like a clear screen that
Oh, cool.
like zooms out.
kind of like the stuff
and,
in the Avengers helicarrier.
Yes,
and
exactly,
stuff.
exactly like anything
Yeah.
Tony Stark would develop. Also,
Dude.
and it's pretty cool. It's kind of off-putting that they had to go to the future to like continue the series for its final season, but
At least they're getting a final season. I know that's one of those
it's
shows
fun.
that's always on the
I
verge of...
absolutely love that show. Like,
I do kind of hate that Optimus Prime seems so impatient right here because it's not very Optimus Prime-y. And the fact that he said, "Oops, my bad," is
Yeah.
kind of out of character, but I guess he can pass it off by saying
And
that
see,
they
it's-
just got to Earth and all they know about Earth culture is what they got off the internet. So
and
the fact that
these
they're
are
not
the
enough...
parts that I absolutely hate to see his face.
Oh, Optimus
It's like,
Prime.
I don't want to see disappointment. I don't want to see anything like that from you. You're Optimus Prime.
I know. Well, it's just
Like, you should be happy the entire time. You should be a team player. You should be all about getting the job done, but getting it done right.
I mean, I guess it's okay for him to get frustrated, but he should be more supportive and encouraging instead of just hurry up, kid. You know.
Yeah.
And then this whole bit where we've got a blown transformer here, and they knock out the power. Yeah, laugh it up, buddy. I know what you're thinking.
We're gonna blow transformer.
I wish. I guess this is a funny part, even though it's nothing but a big masturbation joke. But still, you think, the fact that they got their lights on this whole time might help keep them hidden if they just turn it off.
So incognito.
I don't know. As a truck driver myself, I do have a tendency to forget to turn off the lights sometimes until I walk away from the truck and go, "Oh yeah."
Speaking of truck drivers, one of my friends on Facebook, as you saw, wanted to come and do the podcast.
Yeah,
actually.
Mitch something.
Yeah,
who's
Mitch
that?
O'Dell. He is the what's the term? Moderator for the Geek Hangout of Utah.
Oh, really?
So he puts together a lot of different get-togethers with geeks from all over the valley and all over Utah, and he helps families in need when they need it. You know, geeky families that are part of the group. And they're actually going to start doing their own podcast.
Huh.
But I think it would be great to have him on here. That way we get the geek culture just running.
Yeah, I'm
alongside
down
ourselves.
whenever. Sure.
His is going to be
down to geek.
down to geek.
Yo, man, I'm DTG. I think we've got our new catchphrase now. Are you DTG, Josh?
It's better
I'm
than
110%
DTT. Down to twerk.
I'm always DTT.
But he is a truck driver as well.
Really? Does he drive long haul or?
Long haul, I'm pretty sure. I'd have to check for sure to see where he said that he works.
Well, it sounds like we'd have a lot in common.
Lots in common. Mainly the.
I guess Optimus Prime just fell on his butt. I don't know, or his tailpipe, as you put it. This is kind of funny how they all have to hide. Jazz sort of at the last minute dodges out of there. I wish Jazz. See, the thing is, Jazz. I believe he's being voiced by the oldest child from Family Matters, but he was voiced by Scatman Crothers, the legendary Scatman Crothers in the old cartoon, and he's the same guy that plays the caretaker in The Shining.
Oh,
he
really?
was the janitor guy or whatever who tells the boy, "You got something about you, kid. Some kind of shining. I'm Jazz, ginormous weird-looking planet showing up in the suburbs of Cybertron." My voice about cracked. I gotta warm up first.
Oh,
But,
gotta do your vocal exercises.
I can see the future. Team 4-star fans will recognize that reference. Fist bump for banging the hot chick. Way to go, Micheal Bay. So we're finally past this headache of a scene with the parents. The parents are actually pretty funny a lot of the time. I mean, you got two really good actors playing it, but
The mom's just basically an alcoholic.
well, it's like and the second one, she eats a pot brownie that somehow they confuse pot with like LSD or something. The way that she acts, but don't get me right. Not to mention how fast it affects her. And
The cell phone robot.
yeah, I think it's cool that they chopped him in half with that D-Walt, but he still is kind of transforming and crawling his way around and stuff like that. There's John Turturro, who played Jesus in The Big Lebowski.
Yes.
And
John
as we all know,
Turturro.
don't F with Jesus.
He played the very sneaky housekeeper in Mr. D's.
In Mr. Deeds, yeah, I'm very, very sneaky, sir.
I like feet.
He's a cool character actor,
yeah.
and he actually is a lot of fun in these movies, but he's pretty obnoxious after this first one. Actually, it's kind of obnoxious in this one, but somehow it works.
You leaving?
Oh, yeah. See you later.
Bye. Oh, are you getting the bug too?
No, I've just been sleeping for like 5 hours.
Ah, I see.
What's funny is his parents right here, they get arrested, and then you never actually see him again. Until right in the middle of the credits, they have a scene. And they added that scene because apparently test audiences wondered, what happened to the parents? Did they, die? Or they taken to a Guantanamo Bay or something? What happened to Mojo? What happens to the dog? Oh, no, wait, we do actually see him in the sequel. That's right.
Do we?
Yeah, he shows up.
Is he a Transformer?
Oh, he practically is. They should have made him a new leg or something like that. Transformers had a habit of humans used to get injured in their battles all the time,
So they just
and they'd
give
be
him
like,
a
"Crap!
lot
Now
of
we got to build him an exoskeleton to fix their paralyzed legs." Like, we're not even kidding. That was a real episode,
That's hilarious.
two-parter actually.
It was a two-parter. Took that long just to build
His
that leg.
midichlorians are off the scale.
No wonder the Autobots are attracted to him and need his help.
It reminds me of one of the Ghostbusters little ghost-seeking devices.
Oh, the KPE meter, EPK meter. Crap,
EPK,
someone's gonna
something like
call
that.
me on that in the comments one of these days. So again, this is weird too because he's like earlier referred to Megan Fox as being such a kid, but then he talks about right here where she's a criminal and criminals are hot. I'm like, I don't get this guy. Is he some kind of government pedophile or something?
When
Where's he
those
coming
that have
from, man?
power stray from their consciousness.
Guess so, man. Absolute power does corrupt absolutely. Especially when they're
Absolutely.
government pigs. Stupid G-men. No. But still, I don't know. It's funny to me now that movies that are as recent as 2007, you see cell phones and crap in them, and they look so old and weird. Before
Like,
people
why
had
is there two parts
smartphones.
to that
And,
phone? Like,
yeah.
I don't
like,
understand.
what's that giant keyboard doing there?
You guys had dial pads? What the heck?
So this is really...
Buttons?
So the Transformers just decide, to heck with it. The government already knows we exist. We might as well just bust these guys out of the cars. So the way that they do it here in this whole intimidation scene and reversal against the government guys is actually pretty cool, I think. And all the little threats that they make to him are... I don't know, I have a problem with Autobots ever threatening humans, but they do it fairly passively, I guess, the Autobots in these scenes. So here you find out that she's got a criminal history or whatever. I don't
Her
know.
dad has a criminal history.
Well,
What she has is a sob story.
I think she even says she used to go and she's been tried as a minor because he says that she's got a criminal record. but
That's right.
still, Megan Fox's acting. Seriously,
Millions. Oh, we had a great laugh about it earlier. Don't you worry.
don't you think Megan Fox is kind of a sweaty Betty? Like she's sort of gross looking.
Yeah, but I think it's like how she's presented.
You don't think it's so much her fault? It's just the way that
Yeah.
she is
I think
directed
that
or
this
something.
character and why a lot of people don't like her is because Michael Bay turned her into this like sexualized specific character.
Yeah, like extremely sexualized.
Yeah. And I like other things that she's done that don't involve Michael Bay.
Right.
So
Like,
Jennifer's Body, but that's probably like a guilty pleasure.
We kind of reference that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I will give you this for Megan Fox. She's actually really good in This Is 40. But she pretty much plays
Yeah, she was good in
herself,
that.
And,
Yeah.
but she actually, maybe it's just a Judd Apatow style of directing, compared to what Michael Bay does with her. But, she's hilarious in that show.
what else
She
has she
is.
been in? Like,
I don't remember Jazz having magnet powers. That was Wind Charger when I was a kid, but I'm not going to nitpick that much, I promise.
oh, apparently I watched 101 Dalmatians last night.
Really, with Glenn Close?
Yeah.
What's
Nova
wrong with you,
Prime?
man? Oh yeah, Nova Prime from Guardians, sure. And also in Hook, she was the pirate that went to the boo
Yep.
box.
To the boo box. No!
Boo!
Not the boo box.
Boo! I think Prime's about to put these guys in a boo box and drop more of those robot scorpions on him that we saw earlier.
John Turturro is probably the one character that I love that they brought back in the other ones.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the fact that the Autobots sure do a lot of property damage and don't care about it. It's funny in the
It's like Superman, right?
That's true. In the cartoon, though, they always were a lot more responsible about it, and pretty much at the end of every episode, they're like, man, it sucks that we had to destroy all those planes at that Air Force base to protect it from the Decepticons. I guess we're going to be rebuilding that for the next couple of weeks, so they were probably a little more responsible than these movie Transformers. Now, again, in this particular movie, Optimus Prime is the most Optimus Prime that he gets in the live-action movies, but there's a scene coming up, I'll point it out later, where you see his propensity for violence in the live-action films. He literally has a tendency of ripping everybody's face off.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding you. A
Come
movie
here.
does not go by and he does not fight an enemy without trying to tear off their face or, if not, their entire head. And right here, when Bumblebee pisses on a guy, is about as lowbrow comedy as you can get without like
Yeah.
jizzing in his face or something. So
It's like that was unnecessary. It's funny,
yeah,
but
guess
the depiction of it, it's just like weird.
I don't need my Transformers peeing on me in graphic detail. So.
That was pretty graphic. I
Coming
forgot
this
about
summer
that.
on into
Right? It's like
HD.
yeah, it's like this whole up, crotch shot where he's like thrusting forward, and then this guy with his weird Superman underwear, he pulls weird jokes.
His Sector 7
And
shirt.
Aloha boxers.
It's like, talk about being secret. You just put S7 on your shirt.
Yeah, I don't know. The fact that the third movie ends with him in a wheelchair talking about how much he wants to bang some other old lady and stuff like that. It's a really weird way to end the first 3 Transformers movies.
Uh-huh.
But here come... it's funny because the Autobots could totally just fight their way through these guys and not even have a problem with it. They could probably even do an EMP or something like that because they practically do right here. Takes out a bunch of the cars, but you can see how they direct it at the ground, trying not to take out the helicopters. I don't know if that's actually how EMPs work, but I figure Transformers could probably do it.
Yeah, definitely. Like, expand the range so it's...
Yeah, like it's very specific and precision.
Uh-huh.
But it's kind of weird because they all kind of drive away, and then Optimus Prime sort of runs in the other direction with the humans here, and then we sort of lose track of where the other Autobots went.
It's supposed to be a diversion.
I
It
guess.
didn't work.
Yeah, it clearly did not work.
Failure diversion.
I know that. Look at the fact that this movie is actually 7, 8 years old
I
now,
hope they don't see me.
and the special effects of it
You
still
think
look
they
really
see
good. Where they're climbing on Optimus Prime's back and interacting with him and stuff. And I mean, for looking kind of weird, like I feel like these Transformers do, I mean, they sure do look good on screen most of the time.
Oh, definitely. Especially when you have a high-def copy like this. Like,
Yeah.
It does
Oh, yeah.
change things.
And the movie itself, again, Micheal Bay, whatever he does is a story and narrative and everything like that. He makes cool shots, and this movie does a lot to show the scale of these giant 2-story tall robots.
Yeah.
Just are titans. They're gargantuan.
The problem is, like, you don't see a lot of comparisons shots sometimes. Like, you don't see something else passing in front of it at ground level.
Yeah,
sometimes.
you need to have that kind of reference.
Yeah, so
in
it's
there.
like, oh wow, these things are freaking huge. Like, never mind.
It is cool that Bumblebee, he really is Sam's guardian, as they mentioned earlier in the movie, and he's looking after him and being a total cool bodyguard. But at the same time, it's kind of weird how he sort of gets captured here and pwned a little bit, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like, you think you're that badass, huh?
Well, the problem that I have with these movies is sometimes things happen for no reason, and it's like they're just trying to connect 2 different points. I get, from A to B to C to D, and it doesn't really matter how it happens. Most of the time it's just weird filler or jokes. So this is kind of one of those sequences. Even though it's cool, like Prime looks good and stuff like that, but I don't know.
Did you notice how freaking Optimus Prime just kicked them into Bumblebee's hands?
Well, he was trying to break
like,
their fall.
Boom! But still, I'd be like,
You
ooh!
drop something in the
Probably
fridge
vomit.
and try to catch it with your foot or something like that. and-
Right,
Exactly.
cushion it, but at the same time, you're still falling and hitting a giant piece of
Metal, yeah.
metal. I mean, kind of at this point, between everything that's happened to him, I'm surprised these guys aren't, just completely broken ribs.
Yeah. Who do you think you are, Will Smith?
This
I
is
think
supposed
so.
to be, I guess this is supposed to be sad that they capture Bumblebee and the noises he's making. And that he could fight his way out of it and kill everybody, but yeah, it kind of sounds like a sick raptor or something. Or like a Wampa on Empire Strikes Back.
Right?
But he smelt bad on the outside. And I don't know what they're using to try to, like, freeze them and stop them, but the fact that these guys came from the cold depths of space...
Well, they're trying to use the same thing that they're using to keep Megatron underneath the wraps.
Spoiler alert.
Again, but, it's...
If you haven't watched this movie,
Cold
you
affects
don't.
that. It freezes that. It must be some kind of special compound or something. I don't know, but... Again, plot holes and
What
details.
does it do to
Who
humans
cares?
then? Like,
Yeah,
He
exactly.
should be like frozen.
I know, I'd rather admit, I'd rather want it to be that Bumblebee actually submits to them to protect the humans. That would have been much more in character. And they can still tie him down and stuff like that, like they can do it. But don't fool me into thinking that that crap they're blowing on them can do anything to a transformer.
All it is
speaking-
dust in the wind.
Speaking of being able to of dealing with Transformers, like when IDW did their infestation stuff, where a bunch of zombies, like zombies were coming over and the undead were rising, and it was like, oh no, how are all these different characters gonna face this
So they
onslaught
went
of
through,
zombies?
all the different
We're like,
IDW titles at that time, huh?
yeah, it was kind of a big crossover that only kind of didn't really make sense. But I don't know why they're hanging here like monkeys either, but whatever.
It's like the best idea for IDW ever.
Transformers. I do love that Prime
It's like
can
Marvel's
delicately.
doing zombies. Why
He
not?
can delicately pick up a pair of glasses like that are super small. And
But humans,
I
kick
know.
them around.
He's just gonna kick him to
Just
the
kick him.
ground.
I couldn't raise my knees and hacky sack them at all. Nope, I'm just gonna kick them. Bam.
What do you call that move? The Wit Wiki.
The wiki.
Too funny.
I always wondered what
Koreans
happened to
coming
this
for
character. I always figured he was going to be present in one of the next movies or something like that. Okay, so here's the guy that looks just like the Decepticon hologram that all the Decepticons have been using all this time. But when he first showed up and I see him, I'm like, that's the Decepticon hologram. We can't trust this guy, but it's not. It's just another guy with a mustache.
How did you get that
so.
far in there? What the hell?
Yeah, seriously. But I guess then here's this whole subplot where they've infected America's computers with a virus. It never goes anywhere. I think it's seriously just there to fill time and not have to have expensive CGI robots on the screen the whole time. 'Cause it doesn't really make
I think we
a
can
whole
pay
lot of
actors
sense.
less than doing visual effects these days. So
Yeah,
What we need to do is we
Screw
need to get a
you,
bunch of
Film
screens,
Actors
right?
Guild.
and just
Start having them wig out.
put whatever bad connection you have to make them flicker like that. Again, here's the evil Decepticon mustache guy. I never trust a guy with a mustache like that. He probably has his porn portfolio on there because of his porn stash.
Welcome to Porn.
Is that seriously a mini disc? Yeah.
Those even around anymore?
Right. I've shaved for going into certain places, I have to be clean shaven in case I have to put on a gas mask. Like when I was working the oil fields, and I shaved myself to a mustache like that, I definitely didn't look trustworthy. In fact, actually, the problem is I got bushy eyebrows, so it always made it look like I had a third eyebrow growing above my
You're
lip.
always
Above
doing
your lip.
such mischievous things, I tell you. The eyebrows say it all.
Josh's brother Sean, who's been in some of our podcasts,
Yep.
he's got a big curly mustache, and he definitely looks like the kind of guy that would tie a damsel to a set of train tracks.
Arg, he'd be a pirate.
With that piano music playing in the background.
Yeah. Play me off, Johnny. I always loved how Johnny looked back with looking for approval, yeah, right, like that.
It's good stuff. Good. I'm going to continue playing it.
I
Yeah.
miss those guys.
Stop it, Johnny!
Not Family
Stop
Guy.
I definitely want to create a theater one day with the piano playing, kind of like the Desert Star Playhouse or whatever.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
But just that whole piano playing in the background or music playing in the background, all live, it's amazing.
That's
I really
actually not
wanted
a
to
bad
go.
idea. Yeah.
I really wanted to go see Xmas Men downtown.
Oh yeah, the
Over the
Desert Star
winter.
Theater.
Oh, that would have been so good.
Tickets
the
are
Desert Stars
expensive.
Theater at the end of the podcast. Or right now.
Go now and search for your local Desert Star Theater.
I'm sure if you Google search that in Salt Lake City, you'll find out all about it.
Make it a date. Just saying.
So here we get to this other plot where the military guys have finally made it home, only to be stuck still fighting the robots. I mean, it actually is kind of cool. These guys are the only ones with real experience. They've kind of seen what they can do, and they are kind of a cool special forces unit. One of my friends who's actually in the Marines, I always thought that his favorite part of this movie would have been the part coming up where he rides the motorcycle and slides under it and shoots them. And I was kind of surprised. He's like, well, that was kind of dumb. And I'm like, really? You're totally into motorcycles and you shoot stuff all the time. How could you not like that
Was
part?
the sliding? Was it the sliding? It was
His
the
sliding.
sliding.
Was that too fake for
Imagine
you?
how much
to
this is going
lose
to
you?
cost me tomorrow.
This actually is a pretty funny moment. How'd you guys end up here? Well, my car turned into a giant robot. Yeah, bought a car. Turned out to be an alien robot. And he's just like, wow.
Oh, why are you guys here? Man, I was just eating donuts.
That's why I own so many vehicles. I'm looking for my Bumblebee.
Yeah.
Eventually.
You just haven't found the right relationship.
One of these
yet.
days, the
Right.
car will turn its own key.
They actually built a full-size Bumblebee right there. That's not CGI.
Cool.
Yeah, but who cares?
For one
Let's see, piece it together.
We are robots that must remain hidden, and the humans cannot know of our existence. So we'll stop here at one of the most iconic sites
Right.
in California.
Climb
Or is
all
it
over.
Nevada? Whatever. Right at the top of the mountain where anybody can look up and see.
Shine all our bright lights everywhere in every scene.
This is kind of cool where you make the holograms of that. Makes the holograms that kind of project the map so they can find where the Allspark is on the planet.
So,
It's pretty convoluted how they get the map, but let's not go into that.
Can they
Oh, sorry, 2 scenes. My bad.
Right. It is nice just to have. I wish the movie. I know it's wishful thinking because it's so expensive to have a scene like this where you got 4 CGI characters with 10,000 moving parts each in them, multiple parts, to be on screen. But at the same time, if a Transformers movie had more of this in it and actually had the robots interacting and talking to each other instead of just being stereotypes and throwing out quippy lines and crap like that. You know, that's all I'm looking for. I'd love for it to just be fully animated, fully CGI, like a Pixar movie or something.
Yeah,
You know, give each of these amazing characters their due, but
I'm down for that.
you know, you get what you take what you can get.
It's all Michael Bay.
It really is.
Is
Thank
it
you.
really?
When it comes to
See what he did with Ninja Turtles? Oh my gosh!
Megan Fox. That's
Yeah.
what he did with it.
I think that was his apology to her for firing her off the 3rd movie.
Are you kidding me? That was his retaliation. To
Well,
him.
she'd badmouthed him, so he's just like, "Fine, you know, I can cast another hot actress, right?" So he did, and then
And he's
I
like,
guess
"Take
she
this."
apologized, like, "All right, I'll throw you a bone," and gave her Ninja Turtles.
Now, the main song to this movie, I can't quite put together, you know, I do I reference it to the movie, or, you know, is it Linkin Park? It's just
Yeah,
so much
just-
the movie.
Oh,
that whenever I
Every one
listen
of their
to it-
albums just turned. They used to be big fans of Gundam, so when Transformers came out, like they just changed their entire music to be like robot, like
well,
Transformers music.
from if I remember right, and remember reading all the Transformers websites and stuff at the time, they wrote this song. I think they were already working on it in their album, but then they were asked to do a cover song for the show or something like that. So I believe this first one was wrote specifically for this movie. I'm pretty positive their song for the second movie was there. And I think the third movie, they just kind of shoehorned a song there at the end because it totally does not fit the theme or the fill or anything.
It's like, you remember Linkin Park, right?
Yeah,
they played
exactly.
a song for our movie once, right?
Yeah, you got to end it on the, you know, it's like a Matrix movie ending with Marilyn Manson. You just kind of have to do it.
Yeah.
But whenever I hear the song, you know, what I've done, I instantly think of Transformers. Even if I'm just, like, driving in the car or whatever, it's like Transformers. They can't get the song back. That song is owned by Transformers.
It will always be
now.
associated with this movie. But part of it, though, is when they use it at the end. You know, we'll get there, but it actually is a pretty cool end scene, you know. And
Right.
the shots and Optimus Prime's dialogue over it and stuff is really cool. Having Megatron frozen and captured by these guys, when we get to it, there's some lines that I guess they cut out of the script that were in the comic and stuff that make this whole thing with him being frozen here and what he's doing and his perspective on it. It makes it make a lot more sense and makes it a lot more believable to me. But I'll tell you that when we get there. Right now, as they explain that they moved him from freaking the Arctic back in the 30s or 40s all the way here to Nevada to hide him inside Hoover Dam. Again, like it's like Michael Bay just goes and films set pieces and they figure out later in post how to connect the dots.
Right.
And it totally does not
okay.
make sense if you think about it for even 5 seconds. But, you know, it's like, whatever. I'm getting giant robots kicking the crap out of each other. It's pretty cool.
That's all I could ask for.
Yeah, so...
You're not supposed to think. You're just supposed to be like, yeah.
Right.
Did you ever think that the United States military would need to know about this? No?
John
Maybe
Voight.
not?
Academy
They're giant
Award winner,
robots.
John Voight. I find it hard to believe that the Secretary of Defense is just finding out about this, but I guess that's the point, that Sector 7 is so secret. But I don't know, the whole thing with Sector 7 and the fact the military doesn't know, I don't know. Like I say, it's like this movie didn't have enough characters already, and heaven forbid that it actually characterizes, you know, the Transformers themselves.
I think that the Men in Black are over all of these universes because they can wipe their memory so easily.
That's true.
Like, oh,
yeah.
do you remember this? Pew!
It's a great little invention to have.
Not anymore. We're the Men in Black. See you later.
Men in Black actually is pretty cool. I used to watch that cartoon all the time, and
Yeah, a cartoon?
yeah. The first movie is good. I never liked the second movie until I saw it again later, and I thought it was really cool. So here's the cube, which is kind of a fun reveal since the beginning of the movie. When you first saw it, you see that the cube is actually gigantic. And then I love the fact that the Transformers have some kind of pan-dimensional science that actually condenses the cube into something small that you can carry.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of physics classes, forget about the actual mass of that thing. No matter how small you make it, it would still like be the same mass and still be that heavy, right? But
it's like Nibbler's poop.
yeah, exactly. It's all dark matter.
See, I don't know
like,
why
oh,
this
it's so
device
tiny.
isn't just floating away right now, because it should be really light, shouldn't it?
Yeah, well, you know, considering that they're all just kind of carrying it around like nothing later. So here's Starscream's first appearance. Again, the mask.
Gravity pulling on its mask.
Look, is that not the same guy? It's got the mustache. It's not just the mustache. It looks just like him otherwise, too, right?
I think all fighter pilots technically have to have mustaches.
This tank, it calls him Devastator here in the movie. That's not supposed to be Devastator. He's actually Brawl. And Devastator, even in the second movie, is all the construction guys combined together into a big guy. But they said they'd fix it for the DVD. They never fix it for the DVD.
Didn't do shit.
But I love the fact that the Decepticons, after they mobilize and end their transmission, they end their transmission with "All hail Megatron." That kind of line is very important to me.
I don't understand
Like,
how they could release something so significant, you know, like the Transformers movie, without having like the nerdiest of nerd guy just sit down and be like, "No, that's wrong. That's wrong. Fix it all."
Oh my gosh, I would gladly take that job
Wolverine
even
was
for
here.
free. Oh, the fact that he says it's like Freddy Krueger, but it's Wolverine.
Yeah.
That's actually a Wolverine reference on the TF Wiki about that, on their Wikipedia stuff.
That's funny.
That and his appearance in that
322
Avengers
days?
crossover.
Yeah, that's perfect.
This workspace is gone or whatever, 322 days without an accident.
Oh, yeah.
Prepare to go to go back to 0. And look at that cell phone.
Well, I love this improv with but Nokia is Swedish, not Japanese. He's just kind of like, yeah, this guy's kind of crazy. Better just shut up. I guess that was supposed to be a really nice phone back then, but
right, it rotates on like
the screen is like 3 inches big. And...
Check it out. You can like record your own ringtones.
No, what's up with
to the radio?
I'm totally cool with the Cube, the Allspark, whatever you want to call it, creating new Transformer life, because that's, you know, there's a couple of different thoughts on Transformer reproduction and everything like that, and this works for me. But at the same time, why does every little new robot that it invents throughout this entire movie come out as some, like, murdering...
Decepticon.
Yeah.
Oh, because it wasn't made properly.
Yeah.
They're using the powers for evil, so it makes an evil robot.
Maybe it has to do with intention or process or something like that, and... You know, these things are just crazy and feel like they have to fight for their life. But it is cool to see all the Decepticons moving along together. And Starscream is pretty cool. I saw his design and thought it sucked, but then I saw this shot right here in a trailer where he grabs the building, kind of flips up over it. And I was like, yeah, okay, that works.
Yeah.
They say the reason for the shape of his body, though, and why he's kind of squat and wide like that, is because they originally had him like a big, tall robot, like the old cartoon and stuff. But when they were doing the size comparisons...
this just doesn't fit.
He was too tall compared to the car robots, like realistically. So they had to figure out a way to shape his body to make it kind of squat down so it would fit on screen with them.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's clever though. I've got a couple of toys. You gave me a toy of them for my 31st birthday, and I still have it sitting there on the shelf at home.
25th birthday, huh?
You know, old man Mike. Back in my day, Transformers turned into flat-nosed trucks. What's with this Peterbilt?
Great apes.
You took way too truck into there. You went too truck on us.
Got my truck lingo. Yeah, that thing doesn't compare to a Kenworth or a Texas Star, a Western Star. There goes my truck cred.
North Star.
What was that?
Or my Fist of the North Star.
Is that a reference to Mama's North Star? Because that could be really sexual.
Getting all homophobic, Mike. Heavens no for you.
Put my whole face in North Star.
It is kind of cool.
That just happened.
I love they have the Special Forces team on there. I think they already did the line where they pull guns on each other, and the guy says to him, "I'm going to count to 5." He's like, "Well, I'm going to count to 3." It's actually pretty cool. I like Josh Duhamel's fun. I've seen him in a bunch of movies. Like Win a Date with Tad Hamilton, which I had a girlfriend force me to watch. No, actually, I think I chose it. Never mind, I take that back. But he was in that. He's in, what other Josh Duhamel movies are there?
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, it's the scene right here. But I actually like Josh Duhamel. I think he's a cool actor that should be more of a leading man and stuff. Isn't he married to Fergie? Or was?
That guy?
Yeah.
What?
Ah, he's banging Fergie, man.
I hear she is fergalicious.
She pretty much was in Planet Terror for the 5 minutes she's there. Until the zombies eat her brains. Oh, but what I was saying about Transformers Infestation was, if you had the Walking Dead scenario, but against Transformers, I don't think you'd have a problem. Just kind of squish them.
I like the whole Walking Dead platform.
We can't tell the difference between the zombie ones and the non-zombie ones, Prime. That's alright. Kill them all and let Primus sort them out.
We'll just restart this planet. Don't worry. We have the technology. We can rebuild.
We'll reseed it with new life with the Allspark. That shot of Bumblebee right there, I think, was the first in the teaser trailer or something of a Transformer face that we actually saw. I remember pausing it and scrutinizing it, going, "It's pretty close." Because it actually looks more like his old toy face. Not so much his cartoon face, but his toy face kind of had a mask like that. Mm-hmm. Pretty cool. But I do, being a Mega Man fan like I am too, if there's one thing I love almost as much as Transformers, it's the old Mega Man games on Nintendo.
Oh, yeah.
I love the fact that his arm is a Mega Man cannon and can transform at will to cannon
like the
mode.
Perfect shape and everything.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the bit where they kind of, when Sam gets infused with Allspark knowledge in the second movie, he kind of goes on about like, yeah, you know about the third dimension, but what about the other 17? And like he talks about all this weird Transformers math and physics and everything, and I just think it's kind of fun to think that these ancient alien robots have like so much more space, time, physics knowledge and everything than any human.
Oh.
So that's a very Transformers thing to me, and I think this is a cool effect, watching it all shrink down in a weird Rubik's Cube way.
Which makes sense if you're condensing the mass.
Yeah, like, I mean, it doesn't apply to physics as we know it, but that's part of what makes it cool and Transformers-y, you know. It's wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey.
So full of energy. That's what happens. They're just going Einstein on it.
Oh, yeah,
They're
for real.
They're dispersing all the energy, the mass into energy.
Oh, but can you imagine? I mean, we've got cool concepts and ideas, and Transformers have so much potential there. Can you imagine if you did have, like, Chris Nolan doing a movie like this?
Yeah.
Or who's someone else? Or J.J. Abrams, you know, who's working on the next Star Wars, and can obviously make, you know, that and Star Trek and everything look really cool, and you know, and spend some quality time with characterization and stuff like that. And that's about the lamest effect that's in this movie, that transformation right there. But you know, I can't wait. I'm hoping for the next Transformers movie, because they're definitely going to make another one, since the last one was like over $1 billion alone. Yeah. I'm really excited to see who they get to direct it and what kind of direction he takes it with.
They're like, let's mix things up. Like,
so right here,
the last one just failed.
Here's where, for as far as story, the last one was a headache. Don't even get me started on that. But here's Megatron thawing out and breaking out. Now, the comic kind of alludes to the fact that he probably could have done this almost at any point at this time, but now he knows his Decepticons are on the way. He knows that the Allspark actually is here, something like that. You know, and that's kind of what he's been waiting for, is for other people to do his dirty work. But right here, he just introduces himself and says, "I am Megatron." And it's like, okay, so what? But in the comic, he says something about, like, "I've watched you humans, and you disgust me with your wars and your pettiness." And everything. Like, he actually has this reason to be villainous and to hate them and just want to crush them like insects.
Makes sense.
In the cartoon, the Decepticons are always referring to him as, like, human germs, and, you know, I think humans are disgusting and not worth it. Oh, but the fact that he crushes his way through everything with a big chain mace that comes out of his arm, that's very much the G1 cartoon. That's, like, iconic of Megatron, to have that weapon come out of his arm.
Nice.
Almost as much as his big fusion cannon, which he does use later in this movie. Oh, and the guy...
I liked his primal transformation, too.
Yeah, he doesn't bother to get in Earth mode. He's just a big alien spaceship still, you know.
I'm gonna kill everybody inside.
Yeah, he's just like, F you and your disguises. I'm Megatron, dang it. Now, okay, this part, one of my programmer friends, we used to watch this movie, and we would laugh so hard at this part where they try to hot wire a computer to send out an SOS signal, and the fact that they grab the monitor. And not even the computer, but the green monitor. Right. And decide, we're going to hotwire this monitor. Oh my gosh, it just drives me nuts. And I'm like, why do they even have these scenes? I wouldn't mind if the movie's only an hour and a half long, if it just, packed in quality over quantity. But what the heck is up with all this
We
crap?
gotta send out an SOS
We need a
signal
screwdriver.
over radio. Wait, can't we just, touch two wires together, basically, and
Yeah,
send out
we
that
just
signal?
do the same pulse or
Or,
whatever.
whoa, we have a radio. Why can't we just talk over it? No, we need to hook a computer monitor, which is an input-output device.
Seriously. By the way, I drive my truck like that every day when I pass my
Oh,
stop.
I'm sure.
Religious.
Was that it?
Plus with the trailer, so you just do it so precisely.
You got those nice tandem axles back there, it's not hard. Especially when you're fully loaded.
Pull the jake brake.
It's like 54,000 pounds. I can flip that on a dime, sure.
Here's Johnny.
Yeah. Oh, that would be a great meme to put up with Jack Nicholson's face.
If it isn't up on one side, then you're not doing it right.
Yeah, you don't have to have all the wheels touching the ground all the time, right?
You only need a Rock 50. It saves on tires.
He's got it. He hotwired the monitor.
Good
The
job,
monitor.
pal. All of them against the one.
What I like about
robot.
this is
Yeah.
it's that little guy and he's trying to squeeze through that little area.
Right.
But if you know anything about doors, when it opens up at the top is an open triangle where he could easily just be like.
Yeah, why he doesn't just
in.
climb up there and push his way in. It's silly. These silly movies.
Silly movie.
These primal robots.
Okay,
How
now-
dare you be so primal?
Now the police car completely disappears after that moment. You never see him again. Oh, actually, I guess he pops up in the third movie, so I guess he just retreated, decided he didn't want to deal with freaking Optimus Prime. Because look what Prime does to this guy. This guy's actually twice Prime's size. And look what Prime does to him coming up here. With a freaking sword that comes out of his arm. Alright, so this is super cool. I don't care who you are. This is actually pretty awesome. I don't care how much I hate these movies or nitpick them to death. This is exactly what I want out of my Transformers movies. Big fast car chases where they're switching modes on the fly.
Yeah.
Prime's tearing up the road as he jumps to protect mid-transformation. Forget the fact that his foot just went right through that Cadillac and
Screw that person
doing it.
over.
he goes
Kill the whole bus load of
the
people.
fact, yeah, the Decepticons are like just going through cars like they don't care, and they just tackle each other like hockey player style. And then, of course, here comes what we're all thinking, where this kid voices our own thoughts. Cool, Mom!
Holy shit.
Oh, seriously. If I were this kid and I saw this...
And there
Did you
goes
see
his
that?
head.
No, not yet. His head is still in the game. But yeah, Prime always targets the head. Movie Prime is so ruthless. He goes like right for their face, right for the head every time.
I'm
Look,
gonna
sword
hide behind
arm
the pillar.
comes out, chops his arm off, and then literally stabs him through the head, and then rips it off. He does that every single movie to at least one or more guys.
Spin, man.
But still, sword arm. He actually had an axe that would pop out of his arm originally. And usually in most fictions, like the video game and Transformers animated, he at least carries a giant axe. Mm-hmm. So it's usually his melee weapon of choice.
That would be excellent if that was what they did for this.
Yeah, I would have been happy. I guess he did have an axe, I think, in the third one. It was pretty cool. So he had a whole. He finally
But
had
he
a trailer
had,
by
like, a
the
whole
third
trailer
one. Yeah, and it had like a whole
thing, so-
weapons rack in it. Yeah, I still have a problem with that movie when Prime gets stuck in a bunch of cables and he's like, Autobots, help me get out of this. I was like, what? You have a sword arm. Just chop your way out
I
of
could
it.
do so much, but wires. Oh no!
Seriously. I don't get... Now, somehow Frenzy here, this little Ghetto Blaster robot, he kills himself on accident, I guess with a boomerang one,
Yeah.
and then swears.
Aw, snap. I mean,
Cat never loses his shield. Come on.
Right? Come on now. He should have taken lessons from Steve Rogers. Came throwing discs. I do like... It's cool seeing the F-22 Raptors in this. I'm glad that Starscream turns into one. It's cool they updated them as that.
Mm-hmm.
There was a funny
the
deleted scene there in the
international
IMAX version where they have to kind of strike a deal with the lady in the pawn shop trying to get these little radios. I've never seen the version come out on DVD, but I saw it once. Out of the like 7 times I think I saw this in the theater. I was bored that summer.
Yeah,
I saw it in the IMAX once. I had a couple extra scenes like that. And it wasn't anything worth putting in the DVD, I guess, but it was sort of fun.
Why is the international sign for like a pawn shop the one line that breaks off into 3 lines with the balls at the end?
Is it?
Yeah, like I see that on every single pawn shop.
Must go back to like ancient Samaria, where they used to have pawn shops that had 3 balls.
I will give you.
Or guys would go and sell one of their balls so that someone would have 3.
I'll
they could
say
get
you
some
so
money
I
for
can
it.
feed my family for a couple of years.
I don't know if I'm comfortable with this ball exchange.
Come on, just break out your nuts.
Seems kind of shady.
I do like the fact that the Air Force guy, Tyrese Gibson, he's trying to radio that jet, but that just tells the Decepticons exactly where they are because it's freaking Starscream, but he can't tell the difference, right? Like, why would he know? So that's a cool robot in disguise, gag.
Remember
right
those
there.
2 robots having so much time lifting one truck?
Oh, well.
They throw trucks around.
Right? I think they'd grab a couple of them to use as shields, speaking in Captain America.
Here comes this. It's like we just got blown up, but hold my hand.
I know. It's the gratuitous, slow motion Micheal Bay scene with the rotating camera. And it's always, here's one thing about Micheal Bay movies, if you haven't noticed, it is perpetually sunset.
Yeah. It's always at a certain
I don't know how this guy gets his movies made if he's always doing it at magic hour like this, because that's like 30 minutes a day tops. But apparently, like, most movies will set up like 15, 20 setups a day. He'll do like 60, but I'm pretty sure he's just bragging and full of crap. So, But Bumblebee's lost his legs. It's very tragic. Good thing, he can build new legs for him, I guess.
But it can't fix his vocal box.
But he can't fix his vocal box.
Now, isn't the director supposed to be at every scene when it's happening?
Unless it's a second unit or something, or an insert, yeah.
Or like, giant robots that aren't there.
Yeah, 'cause
Like,
I don't
do
care. I'm just
60
here cashing my
scenes.
checks.
That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, right. I mean, apparently he runs a tight ship with his crew, but I don't know. I've heard.
I run 60, scenes or whatever. All,
This guy's just having fun.
special hour, whatever it's called.
Magic hour,
Magic
yeah,
hour.
within that 30-minute time frame. That's like what
In the
one
morning
setup
and
every
night.
30 seconds. So here comes this tank, and that's kind of fun to have just suddenly roaming through town. I'm sure that hasn't attracted any attention from police or local authorities of any
Are
kind.
you kidding me? Alien attack? What's that?
I
You're just
know.
prank calling us. Forget
Seriously,
about
like,
it.
I know the military's here. Maybe they've radioed the police and said to stay out of their way or something, but it's kind of funny.
See, at this point, that cube should weigh a ton.
Now, when I saw this, I was like 25, I guess, or something like that. But I think I identified. I gotta admit, I identified with Sam and feeling like, oh, wouldn't that be cool if the Autobots needed me to, run a football play with this thing, get it to the top of a building to save it, and like if they're calling on me and I have to do my part.
I like how that scene's so close, you can see her dental work.
Oh yeah, like in cavities.
Yeah.
I've always noticed that, man. But here, Jazz is doing something that it's kind of an homage to something that a character called Cup did in the original movie, where he flipped around on a tank and kind of stopped it from shooting a guy. But I don't know what Ironhide's doing. It's some kind of weird gymnastics. But I love the fact
Look at me
that
twirl.
Ratchet is a surgeon, so he's surgically, tearing parts off him with his medical tools, which are, of course, a giant buzzsaw because of the robots. But it's pretty cool how they take this guy out, and he doesn't drop. He keeps popping back, too,
Here comes
I
her
wish it was
criminal
this
record
easy to
into
hotwire a car,
effect.
because I would be a professional, car thief.
I know, right?
Wait, 2 wires that are already stripped, and you just need to touch them together?
Apparently in the
way.
second movie, when she hotwires the car, it's a car that, like, it's known that there's absolutely impossible to hotwire that car. But somehow in that movie she does. I forget what kind it is. It's like a Prius type car, I think. Some kind of Nissan, maybe. No, it had to be General Motors because they had a contract with Transformers.
Right.
But it is cool that when Megatron shows up, it's a big deal, and all the Autobots are like, ah, crap. There he is, But the fact that...
we're all dying.
See, right here, Jazz, who's about to get his butt kicked,
Split in half.
is Optimus Prime's second in command. He's his lieutenant here on Earth. And so the fact that he goes toe-to-toe with Megatron, and even though he loses, but he does like his job, it's a pretty heroic moment.
It does
Yeah, the tank's
pretty
getting
funny.
back up, and they're just like, "Jeez, what do we got to do to this guy?"
They don't know. No, yeah, I don't know. When he ripped that, what do you call it, Autobot in half, I was kind of like, no, they can actually kill Autobots. And
Yeah, man. It establishes him as just super ruthless, super tough, and completely heartless. Just killing a guy the first couple minutes he's on screen. And the fact that he tore him apart like that, I love how he flips him onto the building and catches him under like his talons, like his feet, like a bird of prey.
Right.
It's actually very cool, very Megatron-esque.
Megatron is pretty OP.
Soldier now.
Now this is him resisting the call to adventure and not wanting to be a hero. But I love how Josh Duhamel's character kind of whips him into shape and lets him know, look, man, this is your fight too. You got to be in this. You got to step up.
Just do this one thing. Come on.
Yeah, this movie actually works compared to the other ones, especially. But it's really cool.
I also find it funny that from this movie to the next movie, he goes, I think he had staff sergeant rank on, he goes to a chief master sergeant.
He saved the world. Doesn't that count for something?
I know, but they don't even make him an officer or anything like that. They're just like, okay, let's max him out enlisted. And then in a
Up
year or
his pay.
two, let's kick him out.
Let's not pay his pension.
I think it's
That's
one of
okay.
the lesser of this movie's plot holes, but I can totally see why it would bother you.
Oh, no.
No, I mean, it just added to the pile,
Run, Tom Brady!
That's hilarious.
Run!
Yeah. I don't know if that cube is fully inflated, though.
Right? It looks a little light there.
Man, I forget just how cool, the street level action is on this, and, some of the moves that they pull, like that helicopter guy, the way they keep transforming back and forth from robot to vehicle, it's pretty tight, man.
And then they haul Bumblebee away.
There's the
Right.
flashes again.
Yeah. Here's Prime's big entrance, and this is again another entrance very worthy of Optimus Prime, and especially the dialogue between him and Megatron right here is totally Prime and Megatron talking.
Yeah.
But the hero shot right here, and his mask comes on last. Megatron Prime. And they just start crashing into each other right away.
Total spacecraft still.
There's a weird illusion in this movie that they're actually brothers, and they both used to lead Cybertron together. One was fair, while the other one was firm. But then they never develop it because Micheal Bay.
Yeah.
But in most continuities, especially in the IDW one right now, they were old friends who could have been the coolest of allies, but they both took different paths, had different experiences, which led to them being different kinds of leaders.
It's kind of like your classic Xavier Magneto.
Now, why is
Yeah, it's very much that same kind of thing.
It seems like Megatron is actually fairly bigger than Optimus Prime.
He usually is,
yeah.
actually, in most continuities. Even though in the old cartoon he used to turn into a gun, his robot mode was still at least equal with Prime.
I remember seeing scenes of a Transformer just turning into a gun. I was just like, what?
Yeah. Fire me, you fool!
Fire!
You turn into a
I
pistol?
just get
That's
straight
it?
to it. I don't mess around with guns. I am a gun. I'm
gun.
gonna blow you down.
But it was kind of hilarious, but it's cool the helicopter guy's using his blades to chop stuff up.
While they're
But
still
right here,
rotating.
it's great because Starscream is second only to Megatron as far as powerful Decepticons go. And it's great watching him just take down these two Autobots like they're nothing. Two of the toughest, coolest Autobots. And he just shows up, knocks him down. And he probably could have taken the Allspark right there and maybe should have, the cube. But, I get the feeling he's leaving it for Megatron himself to have that honor or something,
Yeah.
Maybe he's got
A
some
loyal
direct orders.
servant, as he would be.
Yeah, something like that. That's kind of how I justified it in my head, that he didn't just take the cube right there. He's just trying to clear the path for Megatron because he knows.
Cube boy.
No, Hugo Weaving does a cool job as Megatron's voice, but I'm always going to be a diehard Frank Welker fan.
I like
Or,
how it turns all these things into Autobots.
That's the chick from Cloverfield, and she was in a Kindergarten Cop. Apparently, I remember as one of the little kids. But
Like how it makes the Xbox 360 noise.
I still want a Mountain Dew robot toy that turns into a vending
That would
machine.
be pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I mean it's
Maybe
blatant
you should talk to
product
somebody,
placement, but
yeah.
I've seen people customize some online that are actually pretty cool. If you check out the Radicons forums on TFW 2005, they're pretty cool. And then the fact that he's as big as the window. There's your reference stuff right
Yeah.
You know what I should do? I should use my AutoCAD, abilities, skills to actually print out, my own Transformers.
Yeah.
Can you do
that'd
3D
be
printing after modeling it in AutoCAD?
Yeah.
Dude. That's
That'd be
appropriate that it's
awesome.
called AutoCAD to make an Autobot. Thank you. I'll be
You
here
can
all
make
week.
an Autocab, an Autobot cab,
Ah.
out of an Autocab.
There is one that turns into a taxi named Hubcap. Oh my gosh, I know too much about
A
Transformers.
hubcap, Autocap.
Hubcap's kind of a
I
jerk.
can't even go.
But he makes a cool toy. He looks almost just like Bumblebee, actually. So. It's kind of funny. They do raise the stakes here, up the tension by making it look pretty dire for the humans. By making Megan Fox kind of look like she's... Seriously, what's her name? It's Michaela. That's it. I think.
Maybe.
That's just Megan Fox. Anyway, but there's a great moment where Bumblebee and her kind of team up and work together to take down the tank guy once and for all.
Bumblebee's all Elsa Mars right now.
Yeah, actually, it is pretty cool though.
At that time, I'll drive, you shoot. I just kind of wanted. I thought to myself, wait a second. What if Bumblebee was like, but I want to drive?
Screw you! I'm driving. You shoot.
I can push you faster than I can shoot.
You never really do see any of the humans die. It's probably a good thing since
like
most
especially
kids are
when
gonna be watching
Optimus
this.
Yeah.
and,
Plus, what's the rating of this movie?
It was
Megatron
13.
was just like
Yeah.
crashing through the building.
Yeah.
And you just see like everybody just casually get out of the way like last second. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
you
man.
don't actually see anybody die, I guess.
Everybody would still be on their phones the minute they crash into the buildings as fast as they were going.
There's a moment where you do see one human get hurt, and Megatron flicks him with his finger.
Oh yeah.
It's actually Micheal Bay that he flicks.
That's
little-
funny.
Little tidbit there. But yeah, I love the fact, seriously, like Bumblebee's gun right there is totally Mega Man's pea shooter. And then he kind of raises it up with his finger. ILM did do a rocking job with these robots. They don't quite look like the Transformers that I'm familiar with in my old days of yore. But
Is that who
days of
animated
yore.
the Transformers?
yeah, it was all ILM stuff. They actually had to invent whole new programs and technology to get them just right, to have the reflections work out that way and the lighting and everything, make the paint look like it's the kind of paint you use on cars and stuff.
Right.
So they did a lot of work, and they won a few awards and were nominated a few times for Academy Awards.
I like when movies come out like this. Somebody spends the billions, dollar, and makes it so other movies can, they don't have to spend nearly as much money to, make as good of effects.
Yeah, oh, completely. And just with Transformers alone, it was funny because when this movie came out, they said that it was guaranteed to get a couple of sequels just because of the cost of the R&D and development of those technologies was so much that they're like, well, we got to get our money's worth out of it by making more films. So they knew even if it wasn't a huge success, they were still going to make other movies just to, make it...
Because it's like, may as well, because we're going to be able to cash in on everything.
Exactly. I just wish they had made the other movies good.
Yeah.
He does have some cool lines here where he's like, come on, boy, give me the cube and I'll let you be my pet.
I do like
it's
the
very
third-
Megatron kind of lines.
I do like Dark of the Moon for the sheer fact that there's a lot more space because at least they go to the moon.
There's
You know?
yeah, it definitely has a lot more space aspects to it.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, when it comes to Dark on the Moon, maybe we should do a podcast on that one if we do
Yeah.
another one for any of them at all. Because Dark on the Moon is the next best movie, live action movie in my opinion. And like the twist with spoiler alert with where Sentinel Prime is actually the bad guy, the main bad guy. Even me, with being a Transformers fan and knowing all the lore and everything that I do, I did not see it coming. And like I was like, oh dang, hey, this just got interesting,
It's like, what?
So maybe one day we'll do that podcast.
I'm
but,
cool with that.
Yeah, Dark on the Moon, it has a lot of good points, but you know what? I'll tell you more about it when we watch it one day.
Oh, yeah.
I do love
You're
how
gonna get
Optimus
the
Prime.
rundown.
Optimus Prime grabs him. He talks to him kind of tenderly right there for a second, like very caring father figure kind of way.
Hold on to you, little kitty.
And he's like, "I got you, boy." That's a very Optimus Prime moment. And Sam, I don't care. He actually should be dead after a fall like that. Even if
Yeah.
Prime is holding him, he'd be nothing
It's
but a
still
big
metal.
splatter inside him. Right here, the guy that he flicks right here, Micheal Bay. But look the way he talks and his mask moves. Why can't we just have that the whole movie?
Right.
I still could have identified with that guy. I did as a kid. I never saw his mouth at all as a kid, and I identified with him.
Yeah, if you think about it, having the mouth moving is kind of like useless feature. You know, it's a waste of energy. It doesn't really need to happen for fighting robots.
Yeah, if you're a giant robot, you know, I love his Gundam-like face, you know.
Gundam, we should do a Gundam movie.
The lines right here with
Gundam movie.
where he says, "One shall stand, one shall fall." That's an iconic line of Prime's from the movie, from the old 1986 animated movie when him and Megatron had their big final showdown. Oh, we will. We'll get to that.
I still need to watch it too. So,
have you never seen it? I think I put it on your computer.
You did put it on my computer.
That'd be a fun Saturday morning for you.
Right?
Good old fashioned Saturday morning cartoons. Okay, that shot right there, the helicopter transforming and they're peeking at him through the alley, super cool. That's all I got to say about
it. It's like,
turns on his tail blade and starts chopping things up.
What is cool, I mean, again, it shows the military guys. I imagine, I can't speak for it, I'm not in the military or whatever, maybe you know better. But like, I could see the military actually doing this. Guys that were part of a special forces unit of some kind. You know, this is how they deal with giant alien robots coming in. They'd be like, hey, well, let's just figure out any way to stop them that we can, you know. Right. Whatever it takes. And they'd figure out cool ways of doing it. And, you know, I'm glad that they get their moment here. I love the fact that they're trying to laze the target, and he actually sees it, and he's like, hey, wait a minute, and he just starts killing all these guys.
He like processed the light on it.
Right. Because you couldn't actually see it in real life, but a Transformer could probably see in the spectrum of it, especially this guy. What do you think of the bike that he's riding?
Pretty awesome. I think these guys are supposed to be CCT.
That sounds about familiar from what I read about it a long time ago.
And what he's doing is he's putting the laser pointer right on him, and as you can tell, the laser pointer gives GPS coordinates exactly where that guy is at.
So they can come in with the missiles.
So they come in pinpoint, like, within like a foot, really close.
I love how
destroy him.
It is kind of funny that Josh Duhamel's character had anything to do with that when you got jets firing giant missiles at him. But it's still a cool scene with the motorcycle. I don't know.
Did he make it to any of the other movies?
He was
the other guy did.
Yeah. Him and Tyrese Gibson were both in number 2 and 3. But then they completely redid the human cast for the Age of Extinction one that just came out. Right. And that movie sucked.
Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg's okay in it, but still, I think we got a Transformer here. It's kind of hilarious.
Is this what I think it is, huh?
But this scene with Starscream, like jumping from jet to jet and just knocking him out and flying around in robot mode, super cool Starscream moment. That's exactly how he would do this. Bam. Yeah, and he just keeps switching between modes and chasing after the jets. I'm glad. I love that shot. That's one of my favorite moments.
And they can't tell the difference because he just blends right back into the flight pattern.
Yeah, exactly, you know. There was a couple of fan theories that maybe Starscream, in his treacherous, traitorous ways that he is, was one of the jets, if not the jet, that was knocking Megatron out right here. And people thought maybe that they would go into it in the next movie or something like that. But again, Michael Bay, he doesn't care about story or continuity. No. He just sets up a bunch of cool set pieces and then lets someone else tie them together in whatever way they have to.
I have to get
through that. What do you think of this, huh?
The Allspark! It is kind of hilarious that... Now, there's a poetry here that as soon as Megatron gets what he wants, he dies from it. But at the same time, shouldn't they have just given it to him like an hour ago? Right. Saved the town this much destruction and just killed him right off.
It's like, all we had to do is like push it into his chest.
Well, the idea is revealed to Sam when Prime says, I'll do that to destroy the Allspark. You know, and of course it would take... It's just because he got the chance right there because Megatron was crawling right above him. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense, but at the same time, you kind of wonder, like... Man, maybe they should have just let him have it. Yeah. You know, maybe Indiana Jones should have just let the Nazis take the Ark so it would melt Hitler's face instead of everyone else.
Good point.
We lost a good stereotype today.
We lost a good car.
Yeah.
Somebody called nationwide. Had that kid that made me sad during the Super Bowl.
OnStar, we see that you've been torn in half.
That would have been probably one of the best Super Bowl commercials I've ever seen.
Right? Nationwide is on his side.
With a Transformer.
Wait, it's split in half.
Now there is a joke in the live action Transformers movies that anytime that Pontiac is gone now. That's why Jazz is dead.
Yeah.
They canceled the GMC top kicks for a couple of years ago for GMC. That's part of why Ironhide ended up dying. And of course, they don't do Hummers anymore, so that's why they brutally murder Ratchet on screen by the fourth movie. So anytime like a car ceases production, they just kill it off in order to bring in a new line. You know, it's really sad. Prime's probably really lucky that he turns into a Peterbilt, because those are always going to be around. They can go like 3 million miles.
Yeah.
So Bumblebee talks right here, and then he forgets how by the next movie. I don't know. Actually, he has like 3 lines in the next movie, but his voice is still like messed
he
up.
He doesn't have any lines whatsoever.
I mean, it is cool that he talks. It's kind of an R2-D2 thing. You know, originally the Transformers weren't going to talk at all in these movies, but thank goodness someone convinced them to let them have personalities.
Yeah, that would have been
talk.
Horrible.
Josh looked like he was about to say something, and then
but then I completely lost it. I was like,
my fault.
Did you think he was gonna eat the piece of the Allspark because it looked like a potato chip? He's just like, that was good.
Spicy.
Nothing tastes better than Allspark tipping.
A little bit of transmission fluid, no big deal. Gives it a little bit of tang. It's a kick in a glass.
Zesty. Oh, one of my favorite lines from the riff tracks. I've been quoting a few of them here and there, but right here when they drop in the water, crap, they float.
They're not as dense as we thought they were.
It's pretty fitting that Ironhide and this guy kind of have a bond, and he drives him home. It's actually kind of a cool moment. I guess at some point,
he's a hick and the thing's a big truck.
Well, you know, they're both sort of the most militaristic, you know, trigger happy dudes, I guess, as far as the humans and the Transformers are concerned.
Yeah.
I have a comic where Bumblebee shows up with a girl Transformer and says, "Hey Sam, can me and my girlfriend make out on top of you this time?"
Can we just switch roles here, huh?
Right.
I like how the trucks are just watching.
I know, it's actually kind of creepy when you think about it. But again, this voiceover, this ending, always going to be linked to Linkin Park forever. Right. But it is a cool,
and it's very unfortunate.
It is a cool bookend where Prime started with the narration at the beginning, and he ends it right here by declaring, "I am Optimus Prime, and I send this message out to anyone listening in the stars." You know, it's a cool Prime moment. It's a great hero shot. It's a great way to go out on the movie. And I just wish that more of it was like more character centric around Prime or the other Transformers, you know, and not around Mark Wahlberg or Shia LaBeouf. But
this was a Michael Bay movie?
I know. It leaves you questioning the whole time. But
that guy has movies these days?
Oh, yeah.
I thought he just was like a pyrotechnics expert.
Again, he makes a pretty picture. He can do a cool car commercial, but I just... Yeah, anyway, I've talked all that I can.
This was the Secret Wars.
Yeah, this is the scene where it showed, like, we gotta have a scene that shows what happened to the parents so that they're okay. Because we literally see them be taken away by the government, and then you never see them again. So it's
friendly.
It's good to have it, but at the same time, again, this came out before Iron Man, and of course that established the whole MCU thing of wait until the end credits of a movie. They weren't the first to do it, but they kind of made it a tradition. I kind of wish they'd done something more like that here, you know. But they do have a little bit of a shot of Starscream blasting off into space in the kind of "I'll get you next time, Gadget, next time" kind of way.
Exactly.
But, you know, who again was Frank Welker and also did the voice of Megatron and Soundwave.
Nice.
Little bit of all kinds of puns in that.
I think to end this properly,
Little
I think we
crossover.
all just need a clap because it was such good. No, don't
Just
do
like
that
the
in movie
theater.
theaters, please.
To the golf clap.
But here we are with probably our longest podcast yet. It's like almost 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get some great sleep tonight.
Oh, me too, man.
Is that what we call that thing when our eyes shut?
Between morning and that
Like
rude
5
awakening,
minutes
that
at a
alarm
time?
clock, man.
Time travel, that's what we call it. Time travel.
I don't get enough of it nowadays. There's Starscream blasting off into space. That's pretty cool. That's a
If
good
you
shot.
stuck around for it.
That's a much better shot to end it off than the parents. But yeah, anything you want to plug here, Will?
Get some tasty kale flakes that are full flavored over at Frisch Compassionate Eatery, 145 East, 1300 South, Suite 201. Go in and get you some full Whitaker nachos.
Full Whitaker nachos.
Yeah, get a creamy dill chicken wrap. It's awesome.
I know. I think we've been plugging Dr. Volt's forever with a pretty approximate address, but I'm pretty sure the exact address is 2043 East, 33rd South, It's either that or 2047, but it'll get you right next door at least. So
yeah, just look for the red balloon.
go check it out. Check
Volts
them out.
over there.
They got drvolts.com or something like that. Crap, we're gonna have to get
It's
on the
a
business
Dr.
cards.
Volt's Comic Connection.
Sorry, Dave. Hopefully you get more business from this.
You should, because Dr. Volts is really great.
They're the best comic book store in Utah, as far as I'm concerned. Also, check out my brother's website, please, MatthewArt.com. He has some of the coolest pictures and a lot of Transformers stuff on there, too, if you're a fan. So check out his stuff. Again, MatthewArt.com. It looks like MattTheWart.com.
Check out Beachman Band, or Beachman at Bandcamp.com. Beachman.
Isn't
That's
Evan
Evan's
in that?
band, yeah.
Aren't they playing tonight, and that's why he couldn't be here?
Yeah, apparently.
Well, they need to not do that on podcast night so he can be here.
Wait, so we can actually go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you thinking, Evan?
Other than that, anything you want to mention, Josh, or
Nothing.
upcoming coolness?
Nothing comes to mind.
Mal is zoned out. She is ready for bed. But yeah, other than that, thanks for joining us for this special Transformers podcast. And
it's been more than meets the eye, you know?
right, in a way.
Have we even said it yet?
No.
Saved it for the very end.
Except when I referenced the More Than Meets the Eye comic, I
Oh.
guess. But that doesn't count. Yeah, other than that, just, bangerang everybody. May the Schwartz be with you. And
damn.
transform and roll out. Goodbye.